Following is rated TV MALSV. It contains strong language, violence, and nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Shout out to our head coach for his work on the mound the other day. I thought that was pretty special. I wasn't sure what to expect. I thought he was going to come with some speed, but he actually had some movement, which I thought was awesome.
Let's see this thing.
They're able to split some heads wide open, just like Ben Johnson. Let's go.
A little change piece?
Yeah, a little sink piece right there across the zone, and yeah, he is.
I want to congratulate Rome and TJ for the Piccolo Award. Both guys very deserving, great teammates, great players. Rome's a guy that, I believe is going to take the next step. He's putting the work in now, get himself prepared, and with great coaches with him too. And I think he'll take the next step, which is really exciting for all of us. And TJ, obviously, unbelievable teammate, leader, someone that we lean on to depend on to carry our defense. It's been really cool to see him grow. And we really want to get into TJ. We talked about the extension too. Really happy to get that done. You look at, right now our guys are going to start preparing for the undrafted free agent process. And when you see a guy like that go from being undrafted, working himself into his first contract, elevating his game again, and getting a second contract, I think that's special. And I think that motivates all the other guys that come in the door. And again, no one's more deserving than he is. Kyler as well, really happy to get that done. Impact player for us, ability to make plays all over the field in different phases. He's a guy that I believe is ascending and will continue to grow. And when he gets into this new defense, I think his game can go to the next level as well.
baby. I was waiting. When are we going to come on camera? There's a lot of black there. I got a draft boner, and I got an even bigger boner now that I'm seeing Johnny Santucci up on the screen alongside me. Johnny Santucci, ¿cómo estás? How are you, brother? Oh, you're muted. Let's unmute that guy.
Got it.
There you go.
I'm doing well. I reminded myself to take myself off mute, but that was, it wasn't enough.
I know the feeling.
We're 48 hours away for Christmas, basically.
Indeed. The Tooch sends me a show message at 3 a.m. And I'm like, this guy is up at 3 a.m. working on the show. I love the dedication.
3 a.m. is the urinating hour for me.
I know it. I know it well.
We don't have witching hours, old guys. We got urinating hours. The pissing hour.
That is right, man. It is one of the biggest. This could be one of the biggest weeks in Bears history. I've been seeing it a lot lately. I mean, I said it last year, and it could still be true if Caleb Williams ends up being the one. But this year, it could also be true if the Bears land a blue chip difference-making player. There aren't that many in this draft, but if they do, and I know my man Tooch has been preaching about one particular player, a player that I'd be happy to bow down at his feet because that guy is a master, Ashton Genty. You haven't changed on that at all, have you, Tooch?
Nope. In Bears State of Affairs, I'll tell you why at the end of Bears State of Affairs, why this would be the perfect draft pick. It's the perfect time, and this is for this draft. This draft is unique, and like you said, there's a concentration of blue chip talent at the top, and then in the second, on the second day, second and third rounds, and even into the fourth round, there will be some players who could develop into starting caliber talent.
That's the thing, Tooch. Excuse me for interrupting. That's the thing is that I've been thinking a lot about this blue chip angle, and that right now on paper, I mean, Vizzo says there's 3. I think there's a couple more than that. But right now,
so might be right.
Yeah, he could. Yep. He could be. There could be no blue chips players after we learn how they play in the NFL. But I truly believe that there will be more than 5. Because some of these guys who are being taken for granted that are going to be drafted at 10, 15, 20, 30 in the second round will end up being blue chippers, I believe. I mean, you look at the offensive line in this draft, and while there are definitely no current blue chippers on paper for this draft, there could be, because a lot of these guys are super young, 20, 21 that are coming into the NFL, or these offensive linemen. They could become blue chippers by the time their first contract is about ready to expire in 4 or 5 seasons. So I'm holding out hope that some of these guys, like a Josh Connerly, could end up being a blue chipper, and that he ends up being the first pick of the second round for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, and you and I have said for quite a long time that the Bears are lacking in blue chip talent.
Yep.
You're hard pressed to find someone you would call blue chip. Now, the hope, of course, after last year's number 1 overall selection of Caleb Williams, you're hoping that we have a franchise quarterback who is a blue chip talent. Mm-hmm. It all hinges on that. And, we saw Caleb break a lot of rookie records for passing for the Bears. So he's on the right track.
You froze.
Yeah.
Somebody froze.
Could have been me. My internet maybe a little surge there. But sophomore slump is something we need to avoid. We saw it with C.J. Stroud. Of course, their offensive line had issues. And the Bears, conversely, have built their offensive line. Ryan Poles invested a lot in the offensive line this offseason, both in free agency and through trades. And he added 2 more trench players in the defensive line with Grady Jarrett and Deo Adingbo. Mm-hmm. So he focused this offseason on building the trenches, which is what fans, you and I, Barham, what we've wanted for a long time. And in his 4th year, he finally gave it to us, Aldo.
How about it? Finally. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it before, you and I. I think that Ben Johnson could be that guardian angel for Ryan Poles. I sensed today at the press conferences. We'll play a little bit of those sound bites throughout the show, but I sensed that there was this feeling of optimism, of confidence. Ian Cunningham did a fantastic job behind the podium today. Ryan Poles did a great job of answering a couple of questions and then stepping out of the way. And Ian spoke about the process and about, trading up and about who. I mean, here's just a sampling. Let me pick one. But I'll tell you what. I want to play this one for you before we get to Bear State of Affairs. This was actually a touching moment. Ian Cunningham is asked by Adam Hogue, what was it like when you were kind of,
I saw this.
This is really cool.
Just what was that time period like for you while all this change was going on in this building at the same time?
Personally, it was awkward. First, just grateful for Kevin and George and Ryan for their belief in me, for allowing me that time. But also at the same time, I felt in limbo, right? Like I wanted to be a part of this process. It was just a weird time. Wanted to put my best foot forward. Unfortunately, it didn't work out in Tennessee. And as soon as that was done, got back in, started watching all the videos of the coaching interviews, and got back in late with Ben and was able to be a part of that process. Glad we were able to get him on board, and then led our free agent meetings. And literally when free agent meetings ended, Jacksonville came, and then it was back into this weird position again. So being in and out of those situations, it's tough because you feel a certain way. All that you devote your time here. You want to help this crew, and you also have your own goals and aspirations. So you feel a little bit weird, but again, thankful for those opportunities, grateful for those opportunities. But when it didn't work out, not going to lie, it hurt. Not immune to that, but you got to pick yourself back up off the mat. Shake the cobwebs off and start swinging again. That's where we're at here. Now my sole focus is this draft and bringing a winner to Chicago.
That's a great soundbite.
Yeah, love the vulnerability, right?
Yep, and not only that, but recently, I think this week or last week, news came out, a little snippet of news came out that Ian Cunningham was the one who told Ryan Poles to stand pat at number 9 last year and wait for the draft to come to him and draft so they could draft Rome Odunze.
Yeah.
So he's arguably Poles' voice of reason, the conscience, the angel on the shoulder of Ryan Poles.
It appears that he is the more disciplined. This is the plan. We came up with this plan, Ryan. Now, don't go trading away. Don't deviate from that. And that's a good person to have in your inner circle of thinkers.
Yep.
J2K says Ian was really honest. That's so refreshing. It was. And then even before when Poles took the podium, he was not at all honest. Look, I don't think that guy can play poker well, but he still seemed confident. He still seemed in control and hopeful that this thing was gonna go well. There's a lot of rumors out there about what could potentially happen, and we'll be talking about those rumors. But could the Bears be potentially making a huge trade for a blue chip player?
Are you rereading Bear State of Affairs early?
That was my lead into Bear State of Affairs. So without further ado, let's go to Johnny Santucci's Bear State of Affairs. Let me find the roll-in.
Everyone on this show's a dog and a loser. Not John. He's the best except for me.
All right, Bear State of Affairs. Yeah. NFL off-season week 21. What's happening, Barflies? Well, it's draft week. Yeah, it's finally here. Yeah, it's Draftsmas Day. It's less than 48 hours from now. It's like Christmas. This is where the barroom works its hardest, man. I'm wearing my Bears barroom shirt.
There you go.
We're about to get ready to, buckle down and work our asses off for the next, 6 days?
Indeed.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, and that means Bears GM Ryan Poles and his staff, well, they've run through all their potential draft day scenarios. Yeah, scouts have made their cases for all the players they want to draft. Yeah, all the players they endorse. And Ryan Poles, assistant GM Ian Cunningham, Ben Johnson, and his coaching staff, they've all made their sales pitches. Yeah, and Ryan Poles is likely working the phones to test the waters and see whether a team is interested in changing draft positions with the Bears. Yeah, Chicago Bears GM says there's a lot of phone calls going on right now, Aldo.
I love it.
Yeah, they're flying about. Teams are engaging in their fair share of subterfuge while seeding the media with their narratives. It's an important 48 hours to be sure, but it's an important draft for Bears GM Ryan Poles. Yeah, folks are expecting rapid improvement from Ryan Poles' team in his fourth year. Yeah, in fact, some folks are predicting a worst to first year for the Bears. Yeah, his franchise quarterback, though, is appearing on magazine covers and doing photo shoots. Yeah, what could go wrong? Yeah, but in the offseason, Ryan Poles hired the best coach available in Ben Johnson. Johnson went out and hired a very good coaching staff. In fact, this is certainly the best coaching staff the Bears have had in 2 decades. However, the spotlight is still shining bright on Ryan Poles. Yeah, he has to come through on this one, Aldo.
He did say that today. I think it's going to be a little wild.
It'll be a little wild, man. His first 3 drafts have been middling, with the exception of last year's draft when he acquired a franchise quarterback with a selection of Caleb Williams with the first overall pick. Yeah, let's make no mistake. This draft will definitely have an impact on the future of the Bears GM. He's rebuilt the offensive line. Yeah, it's now the 4th most expensive offensive line in the NFL.
Wow.
He's added to the Bears pass rush. He spent a lot of the McCaskey's money, Aldo.
All 3 of those guys are new, too.
That's right. Yeah, he did what fans wanted when he built up the trenches this offseason. But fans always want more. His head coach wants more. Yeah. His head coach. His head coach wants to hang 40 points a game on opposing teams this season. That's right. And Ben Johnson needs Ryan Poles to be at the top of his game in order to do that on draft day. Poles, he cannot fail. Yeah, and Bears fans, you cannot forget that Ryan Poles was the GM who actually spent 2 draft picks on punters in 3 years. Yeah. I'm old enough to remember that.
Oh, Lord, that's awful.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, imagine our quarterback had to actually say that. Kind of a veiled shot at the GM. Yeah,
really.
Yeah, now been looking back. Yeah, that's the thing that really happened, man. In 2 of his 3 drafts, he used one of our draft picks on a punter. Yeah. Yeah, but this year he's turned the corner. Hallelujah. Yeah. He needs to draft smart, though. He needs to take the pressure off of his franchise quarterback, Caleb Williams, who was sacked a league high 68 times. Aldo.
Oh,
sorry, bro.
We're looking like we need to avoid that this year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Please.
But the Bears are at a disadvantage drafting from the 10 spot, and there are only really 5 or 6 blue chip players in this draft. Maybe 3, like Aldo said. Yeah, the Bears are short on blue chip talent. Yeah, and Ryan Poles knows this. Yep. Now, Ryan Poles has talked about creating draft boards based on the best combinations of picks 10, 39, and 41 and filling top needs. These 3 positions, well, they're very likely running back, defensive line, and offensive line in some order. The thing is, there's really no surefire home run offensive lineman or defensive lineman that's going to be available to the Bears at number 10.
Nope.
Yep. In all likelihood, there just won't be there. You have multiple options that could project to be good, but you're probably not getting a Penei Sewell type tackle or a Micah Parsons type defender. In this draft, number 10 spot presents a challenge for the Bears' young GM. It's a very particular type of draft, with blue chip talent concentrated at the top and solid NFL talent through day 2 and possibly into day 3. This draft is not as cut and dried as past drafts. In fact, this is the closest to draft day that we've ever been without there being any trades for first-round picks in the common draft era.
Ooh. Wow.
The 1993 Joe Montana trade from the 49ers to the Chiefs. That came just 5 days before the draft. But here we are, 2 days before the draft, and no trades have happened. And it really is an out-of-the-ordinary draft. It's not a good draft for quarterbacks or left tackles, two premium positions usually earmarked for the first round of drafts. But teams will always reach for premium positions. The Tennessee Titans have already informed Miami Hurricanes quarterback Cam Ward that they'll select him with the first overall pick. The way I see it, there are three paths for the Bears on Thursday night. One, select a premium talent available at number 10, if one falls.
Mm-hmm.
Two, trade up to acquire a premium talent.
That's a W.
That's it. That'll likely cost the Bears one of their second-round draft picks. Or three, trade back to accumulate an additional day 2 pick. That's probably a popular option among Bears fans who just want to accumulate more draft picks and try and throw some more darts at the dartboard. The draft trade value chart says this kind of move to trade up will require one of the Bears' 2 second-round picks and their 10th overall pick. In this particular draft, second-round picks offer teams a lot of value. Many analysts felt that day 2 should have plenty of players who could likely contribute immediately. But Ryan Poles has a decision to make. Will he stay at 10? Will he trade back and acquire more picks? Or will he trade up for blue-chip talent? Yeah, according to Adam Schefter, the Bears are praying that Ashton Jeanty falls to them at 10. And the scenarios that allow for the Bears GM Ryan Poles to trade up and draft running back Ashton Jeanty include trading up to 6 with the Raiders, who are also said to be considering Jeanty at pick 6, or going all the way up to 5th ahead of the Raiders and trading with the Jaguar, who also are likely considering Jeanty. Yeah, and then this today, possibly a trade with the Patriots up to 4th could be in the works.
Look at that.
So Bears fans, where the possibility of getting Jeanty is involved, trading up might be simply a matter of how far are the Bears willing to go to get their guy.
Yeah.
Are they willing to trade up to get their guy? Well, does this look like someone who's willing to go up and get his guy?
I love it.
That's right. Yeah, if that guy's whispering in Ryan Poles' ear, telling Poles to get him his running back no matter what, will Poles do what his new head coach wants? Ben Johnson, he needs an engine for his car. Ashton Jeanty could be that engine and make Ben Johnson's offense an instant success. He's a definite blue-chip player. He's arguably the player with the highest floor and possibly highest ceiling. He's the one player in this draft who will, in all probability, have the most impact on this Bears team this season. I know someone else That's right. I know one person who's praying, who's also praying, man. Yeah. Poles got his driver in last season's draft. He's rebuilt the offensive line. Although that car ain't leaving the garage without an engine.
That's right.
Yeah. One thing is for certain. If Ryan Poles trades up for Ashton Jeanty, it'll be the most polarizing moment in Bears fandom since Ryan Pace traded up one spot for Mitch Trubisky.
You might be right, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be polarizing for the barroom. But you know what, Aldo? 2025 is a special year in Bears history. Yep. 2025 will mark the 50th anniversary when the Bears drafted Walter Payton.
Ooh,
That's
nice.
Right. Yep. In 1975, I was a 7-year-old Bears fan who, of course, fell in love with the Bears because of Walter Payton. I want other kids to have that same experience. And taking a blue-chip running back 4th overall, that's a move this old Bears fan could really get behind.
Yes,
that's Bears state of affairs, Aldo.
Nicely done.
We're finished talking.
Yeah.
Outstanding job.
From the heart.
Yeah, that felt very special. Very, very Ian Cunningham-like.
bare their souls. You know?
That's right. That's right.
A little bare their souls there.
All right. A few things that I want to share with you, people leaving comments. J2K saying, I don't see the Bears. I don't see Genty falling to number 10. Yeah.
Got to trade up.
And
you trade up to 4 and you get him for sure.
Yeah. Now, we've been asking people, what are your Bears wishes for the draft? For sure. He says, no trade ups is my wish. So
it's a good thing you're not GM at Mass.
Bearski Film, he says, first of all, I appreciate the debate last week. And again, he reiterates.
It's the driver, dude. The quarterback is the driver, Bearski. Come on.
Let's get the metaphors right here.
Get the metaphors right.
Antonio says, I'm praying somebody else makes the biggest mistake of the draft and takes Genty. Jeez, not a fan. The polarizing has started.
Yep. Polarizing has started. Yep.
Hampton is overrated, says Ricky.
As far as I got something for you.
Come on, Antonio, let us know. Were you happy that Bears drafted Mitch Trubisky? Are you? Come on, everybody come clean. Who wanted Mitch Trubisky? J2K says, I don't think Genty is overrated. I think this draft is overrated. It's just not that good in the top 20 compared to other drafts. What do you think?
Let me tell you why.
Okay.
So the perfect back for Bears, Ben Johnson's offense is Ashton Genty. He's an explosive play waiting to happen. Look, 98th percentile of all running backs drafted since the stats inception. That's a 39.4 forced missed tackle rate. He forced 152 missed tackles last season. The next closest player was 103. He averaged 5.25 yards after contact per attempt last season. There's 40 running backs in this draft that didn't even average 5.25 yards per carry, period. You know, the only players with similar measurables to Ashton Genty are Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, Christian McCaffrey, and Reggie Bush. He's in rarefied air as far as the measurables, the speed, the elite contact balance, the broken tackles, the explosive plays, and whatever you want to say. I guarantee you, when this guy is running for long touchdowns, putting 3 touchdowns on the board every week, you're going to forget that we traded up for him. Yeah, I guess. All those muted though.
Here it is. I think a lot of people consider Genty overrated because of where he played in the competition. But you got to remember, and somebody pointed this out last week in the chat, you got to remember where Walter Payton came from. Jackson State. You got to look at it with your own eyes and see what he is doing. And yes, Penn State basically took him out of the game in the first 3 quarters, but they were
finished with 130 yards.
Yes, they were. The game plan was stop Genty. Don't worry about anything else. So
they didn't have anything else,
right? And if he comes to the Bears and that's the same game plan for defenses, then it's incumbent upon Caleb Williams to take advantage of that.
Let me speak to some of these doubters. You have a head coach that's great at offensive scheming.
Mm-hmm.
Wait until he schemes Ashton Genty one-on-one in the flat against a single defender.
Yeah. There you go.
Know, they didn't need – 2 years ago, he led FBS running backs in receiving with 43 catches and over 800 yards receiving.
Mm-hmm.
This past year, they didn't need to throw to him because you just handed off. He got 7.25 yards per carry. They didn't need to throw to him.
Right. Antonio says, I can promise you if he played at Wisconsin, he'd be a mid-round pick. He's beyond overrated. He sucks, says Antonio. Antonio,
he's one of the 3 for sure blue chip players based on – this is why Antonio is not a scout or a scout evaluator.
Don't criticize Antonio. I criticize the idea that he's saying.
The idea is moronic.
Look at his avatar. What is that? Is that like the Milky Way? I believe that is. Okay. So
that's where his brain is floating right now, out of his body.
Holy cow! Dante says Genty is great against great until Murray, Kramer, Stromberg, and Bates are blocking for him. That's a nice one, Dante. And but the point is that the interior of the offensive line, there's been considerable investment. Tooch put it up during his Bears State of Affairs. The Bears now have the fourth or fifth most expensive offensive line in pro football. So hopefully those guys will pay off.
I would put forth this though. Who are you going to draft for the offensive line in the first round that's going to make a difference on this team that's better than the 5 starters we have already?
Mm-hmm.
You can maybe say someone at left tackle, but there's nobody in the top 10
right.
at left tackle.
You have to make the leap of faith that Will Campbell can play left tackle in the pros the way he did in college. Antonio is asking you, do you genuinely wish that Post trades one of our second rounders for a running back? Come on, bro.
Not generally. In this draft,
mm-hmm.
which is a unique and particular draft with only a few blue chip players at the top, I endorse a trade up to grab a blue chip player because the Bears have none, arguably.
Currently,
Jalen Johnson is a good player.
Right.
Kyler Gordon is a good player. He's a nickel cornerback. And Caleb Williams is a damn good player.
Right.
But are defenses scared of us, of our rushing attack with DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson?
Mm-hmm.
They're not. But you put someone of this caliber behind there, and they're looking at us like we have Saquon Barkley back there. They have to game plan. It's going to take pressure off of Caleb Williams. It's going to open up the passing game for DJ, for Rome, for Olamide Zaccheaus, and for all the other Bears receivers, including Cole Kmet. And the other guys, Duvernay and Tyler Scott. It's going to open it all up. But if we get another wide receiver, it's going to open it up for that guy.
Well, Tooch, let me ask you, so where is the cutting point for you if you're the general manager of Chicago Bears? Ben Johnson has told you, I want Genty. What I can do with
I'll trade up to 4 and get him.
Now, so if you learn that at 4, who is it? The Patriots want him at 4. Would you try to work your way up into the 3 spot and giving up your first round 10, your number 39, the first one in the second round, and a third rounder in the 2026 draft? Would you do something like that to go up to 3?
The Patriots aren't, but I mean, if they were hypothetically, I'd try to get up to 3.
Okay.
Yep.
See, I got to tell you, I don't agree with Tooch, but I do agree with the attitude because we do need blue chippers. And sometimes you got to take some risks. Sometimes you got to take some chances. And the only way I'm doing that is if Ben Johnson grabs me by the arm and says, Aldo, you got to put up that picture. Put up that picture of him. He says, hey, Aldo, you better make that fucking trade.
Aldo, fucking get it done. Fucking get it done.
Look at that. He looks like Tom Cruise in Collateral. He's going to kill me.
If this were a different draft, let's say Asher Genty isn't in this draft. He's not in this draft. He stayed another year, whatever. I trade up for Abdul Carter maybe or Will Campbell, or I stay put and I trade back. But in this draft, the one player that will touch the ball 20 to 25 times, help Ben Johnson score 40 points a game, and he'll have the most impact of any player in this draft on this Bears team this season and take the most pressure off of Caleb Williams.
Now, Ant makes a really good point. If we made the playoffs last year and we knew we were in a win-now mode, the running back would be our last piece. So I ask you, and
they kind of were in win-now mode last year.
Exactly. I ask you, why can't they win in 2025? Why can't they at least be thinking we're in the playoffs? We bring in a strong running back like Genty. And again, I'm not advocating for Genty, but I am kind of really appreciating Tooch's thought here and his thought process. So we could be in the playoffs if Ben Johnson is saying, I need this guy. This guy's the perfect guy for my offense. He is a David Montgomery and a Jahmyr Gibbs.
Put on the Oregon tape. Mm-hmm. Oregon had a damn good defense, one of the top defenses in NCAA. They had 2 damn good defensive tackles and 2 pretty good ends as well. A good defensive line at Oregon. And they had him wrapped up in the backfield many times, and he escaped.
Great point by Antonio. Tooch, go look up Barkley's stats in the Super Bowl. He was non-existent because the Eagles drafted in the trenches. I don't think that's correct, Antonio.
No.
Barkley
he's
was
the single reason they went to the playoffs and to the Super Bowl was Saquon Barkley. He juiced their running back. He was running for 40-yard runs quite often last season. He was putting up 2-3 touchdowns a game.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you can't just say in the Super Bowl and ignore the other 17 games.
Right.
They had a good offensive line. Howie Roseman built a great offensive line.
Indeed.
But what I'm saying is in this draft, you can trade back and maybe get a Josh Connerly or someone or Ante Ursary who could slip into that. First of all, they have to beat out the two guys in front of them.
Right.
They have to be the player you drafted left tackle is more insurance policy than starter. You know, because the coaches are high on Braxton Jones and Karan Amagaji. And if you go back and watch the Commanders game, Amagaji, I saw some real flashes. I see what they see in him. Whether he puts it all together, it's up to him. It's up to the coaches, and it's up to Ben Johnson to get him on the same page with the rest of the offensive linemen.
I want to let me see if I have this here. Okay, so
in this draft, any other draft, I wouldn't endorse this. In this draft, I endorse this because this player will make the most difference, will help Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams the most in this draft. And I know we had this discussion on Barfly Tailgate that we could trade back and get another guy. You could trade back and get a guy. You can get a guy. You can't get this elite talent. Okay, you can get Travion Henderson. I think has a close to that type of elite talent. Then the rest of the guys are guys. You know, Marion Hampton is a nice player. He's tough.
What do you think? This is what Ricky asked. Tooch, there are other running backs that can get the job done. Judkins, R.J. Harvey. People are saying Hampton and stuff. So how do you counter that argument? I think you were in the middle of it.
They're good players. They're good players. They're not great players that other teams have to scheme around. They're guys that will help the team win, but they're not guys that will be the reason the team wins.
Mm-hmm.
This guy will put 2-3 touchdowns possibly on the game like Saquon Barkley does. Right. And then Caleb Williams will have a lot of pressure taken off him. Ben Johnson wants to run play action. He ran play action 37% of the time. They're going to fear the run game more with this player.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, so Ant is asking, okay, so you blow your load to move up. You're
not blowing your load. You still have another second round. You've got 2 second-round picks next year too.
Mm-hmm. So he says, what do you do at 41 and at 72? So here's what I would do, Tooch. I would answer the phone call and see if somebody wants to trade down for 41 so that I can get multiple draft picks later that round and into the third. But here's the thing about this draft. There's depth at the defensive tackle position. So I'm grabbing one of those defensive tackles at 41 to help the pressure. And there's no more fucking argument. What I said 8 years ago to Phil and Tooch, now the league is openly talking about it. Pass rushes come primarily from the middle. And so we need 4, maybe even 5 defensive tackles who are going to push that pocket in and smother the quarterback.
We have a list of players. You told me to make 5 players on my wish list.
Yes. Okay. So you got one of those guys on there?
I do. I want Kenneth Grant, who's the big defensive tackle from Michigan, athletic freak. After Big Billings went down last season, the run defense suffered. This guy's going to help with that. Not only that, but he's rare. He's a rare athlete. Not only that, he'll get pass rush pressure from the nose tackle position. That is so rare to find a nose tackle that will collapse the pocket, that has some pass rush juice. You know, he's got. I mean, there's so much. Dude ran a 4.8 40 at 350 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not that, but he's got a great motor. He's got pursuit from the backside. He's got a developed pass rush repertoire already. He's a quick processor. He recognizes all of the plays coming at him. 3 years of high level production at a top college program.
Right. Antonio is going back and saying, "Look at the backups on the offensive line. They're shit. You're not
Oh,
going to."
we have to draft backups now, Antonio. Okay, we can't sign any free agents. Okay, after the draft, we have to draft backups.
Tooch is on fire, man.
I'm just saying we can get a guy in the second round, get a third guy. There's offensive linemen I like all the way back in the 7th and free agency.
Yeah, indeed.
If there's pass rushers you can get in the 3rd, 4th, and 2nd rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And all these guys are going to be here. You have to get blue chip talent.
Antonio says, "Imagine drafting Genty over Walter Nolan. Tooch, you're high."
Genty doesn't have the character issues that Walter Nolan has.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I actually heard some more specifics on that today regarding.
I'm glad Antonio isn't our GM. I'll just say that.
But I'll say this about Walter Nolan: the stuff that is happening to him is not his fault. There's something else. It's an outside force involved.
I love the player.
I'm speaking in code because I can't, divulge exactly what is happening. But Walter Nolan not only has to overcome the person lined up against him at the line of scrimmage, he also has to overcome some personal stuff that's around him. That's all I'll say. So he's a risky draft pick because of that.
Ashton Genty has the highest floor of any of these blue chip players. Yep. You have Abdul Carter. He's got a foot injury. Supposedly he's got is over his injury. And Mason Graham. Perhaps he's filled out. And to be honest, there's plenty of 3 techs in this draft that I like. Yeah, is Mason Graham a good player? Yeah, he's a damn good player. But I actually like Kenneth Grant better. I think you can get him later than Graham. There's other players that are good 3 techs as well, all the way into the 7th round. There's 3 techs, So
I wanted to ask you. I was going to actually save this. I'm looking for it now, so bear with me a second.
If you want blue chip, you have to trade. In this draft, you can pray like the team was praying, like I said in Bears State of Affairs, pray that he falls to 10. He might, the Bears let the draft come, and I'm not going to be sad if they miss out, because then in all likelihood at 10 they will have to trade out, because I wouldn't spend a number 10 pick on Tyler Warren. I like the player. I don't think he's worth a top 10 pick, because I like Colson Loveland almost as much. I think you can get him later, and then I don't think Mason Graham is worth trading up for. To me, there's 3 players that are worth trading up for.
Okay.
And that's Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, and Ashton Genty.
Okay. So you mentioned Mason Graham. Here is what Vegas is saying on the prop bet. Over-under 5.5. Mason Graham's draft position. Is it over 5.5 or under 5.5? Under being the 4th round, 5th round, 4th round, 3rd round, etc. What are your thoughts on Mason Graham's draft position? Because I got a definite thought that this is going to be over. He might be available when the Bears draft.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. So let's put some money down on that, Tooch. Let's call your guy Rocco.
There's the odds for the number 10 pick, and Ashton Genty is the favorite at number 10. So maybe Vegas does know something.
Wow! They know a lot.
I like all these guys on this list. I would be happy with trading back and getting Banks, Loveland, or Williams, and then taking a running back in the 2nd round.
What do you think about what Squeegee is saying here? Because you did a great job 3 shows ago about explaining what EPA is, and he says Warren's EPA is higher than
Johnson and them. They like it.
So what do you think? Would you pay attention to EPA when considering who you're drafting?
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I'd have to see that again. I know his explosive plays percentage is high, though. It's high enough for me, but for a second tight end, I don't care. I'll stick with Cole Kmet for the time being and draft him. There's good tight ends later on in the draft as well. My favorite, I think, the more I watch Colston Loveland, the more I like him. To me, he's a great receiving tight end.
Right. He might fall a little bit too because of the injury issue, and he didn't know workouts. But we'll find out about that. Antonio wants to shoot back at you and say you're talking about Genty like he's Walter Payton. Come
That's
on,
right.
Tooch.
That's right.
I love it. This guy is
50th anniversary.
This guy has conviction, and you gotta appreciate that. You know,
I like some of these other running backs. I think Caleb Johnson will be a great fit for this offense. You know, he's a good patient, waiting for his blocks, a great hit the hole. You know, and you that's something that frustrated Bears fans with DeAndre Swift. He wasn't hitting the hole like they wanted, and that's not his game,
right?
You know, but to be honest, I took some notes on this too. Hold on a second. As far as DeAndre Swift goes, if the Bears wanted to detach from DeAndre Swift, last year they signed him to a 3-year, $24 million deal. If they wanted to, they could wait until after June 1st to trade him if they could find a suitor. But doing so, they would save $8 million in cap room, and their cap hit would be a $1.3 million dead cap hit over the next 2 years. You know, so it would give the Bears the luxury of seeing if they came up with one of the preferred running backs in the draft. You know, so if they wanted to free up some cap space and sign some of these backup offensive linemen that Bears barflies want so badly, you know, you guys forgetting the Canadian Eagle.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about my interview. I got an interview.
I don't get who do they want in the first round as a backup offensive lineman. You know,
how many times are you gonna interrupt, dude?
Sorry.
I got it.
Bears Country podcast.
We're gonna talk about that Canadian Eagle guy in my interview with Emery Hunt. So
nice.
that's coming up in a few minutes. But let me play a couple more prop bets with you, okay, Tooch? Because I know how you love prop betting. So I got you at an over on Mason Graham, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's a wild draft, though. Like Paul said, it could be wild with could be just because of the way this draft is, with the very small amount of blue chip players, and then like you said, Aldo, in the second, third, and possibly into the fourth, there are players that could later on reveal blue chip talent.
Indeed. All right, let me ask. This seems like a sure bet for you. The under Ashton Genty's draft position. You think he's going to go? Well, I shouldn't speak for you. You think he could go over or under at 6? The line opened at him being at 8.
I think that number is pretty sharp, actually. I think 6 is probably a good spot. The Raiders have been all talk, but if I had to lay on, I would say under 6.
Under 6. And D. Starren is asking a great question. Is Tooch a lone wolf on Genty? I don't think he's a lone wolf at all.
Fuck no, man. 50% of people out there think the Bears should trade up for him. I'm not alone on this, for God's sakes.
No, he's not. He's not. Yeah. That is for sure. All right. Now, Membo, the over-under on him is 7.5. Man, this is a tough one, right?
It's a tough one. 7 is a good spot for him on the Jets.
You
know? I could see the Raiders taking him, you know, at 6. But I mean, man, he's tough to project. You know,
he really is, because he could be available in the Bears pick at 10, or he could go in that 4, 5, 6 area. Absolutely.
And a lot of people think he's just a right tackle.
Yeah,
you know, like Darnell Wright, who was taken at 10 overall. You know, but he has a lot of the same steam that Darnell Wright had before the draft. You know, right before the draft, like Darnell Wright shot up. You know, it's the same kind of thing that what do you call it? Erman Membo is experiencing, that shoot up. You know, I like Will Campbell. I think he's one of the few guys I think could beat out the two left tackles we have on the roster. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Greg Gabriel says his position's probably guard, and Will Campbell's the successor to Joe Thuney. It's weird that they haven't extended Joe Thuney yet. Also,
I hear that the negotiations are going on, but there is we're not close to the agreement yet, is what I'm hearing. So we'll see. Hopefully that changes overnight.
Yeah,
but it could take a while. J2K says, if someone says Hampton over Genty, I don't think they know football or they are just talking out of their ass.
And here's another thing. O'Marion Hampton didn't face very good defenses either in the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the best defense in the ACC was Duke. You know, it was like, I mean, he was running over guys too. But I mean, if you're going to knock Ashton Genty, you have to knock O'Marion Hampton for the defenses he faced.
Yeah, and well, you know, that's a good point, because when you look at the tape, there are things that Genty does that Hampton cannot do. You know, the slipperiness. Now, Hampton is a good power running. There's no doubt about it. But Genty is an A+ in that area.
Yeah.
So, Squeegee says, I'd take Johnson over Genty as well as Hampton. He really
I like Johnson quite a
Caleb.
bit. Yeah, I do like. I like Travion Henderson quite a bit, and I like Quinshawn Judkins quite a bit, and I like DJ Giddens quite a bit, who's Danny Shimon's really high on. He's got some crazy legs, Giddens.
Oh my God, that guy is wild.
I do like that. I don't know. He's kind of a sleeper. The more I watch of him, the more I like. He doesn't really have the contact balance that some of these other guys like Hampton and Genty have. Judkins is pretty tough too. Damian Martinez is a tough runner. There's a dude on Clemson named Phil Maffa, who's just 6 foot, 230 pounds. Who just
got the perfect name.
He runs angry mofo.
Motherfucker.
That guy will hurt you.
I love it. You got some good names there too.
Yeah, I mean, look, if the Bears can't do it, I recommend trading out of the 10th spot. Now, I'm going to be pretty happy with that too, because I think getting an extra second day pick is beneficial for the Bears.
Yeah,
but if you want a player that's going to help, like a Jahmyr Gibbs type, help you put 2 or 3 touchdowns a game on the board against your opponents, that guy's Ashton Genty. He's the what did you flashed up there like the top players in this draft?
Yeah. Say that last question again. Last thought.
You flashed up something before the show. It was like the rankings of the players according to, I don't know.
I think it was
people who do this for a living and not me.
Was it this?
He's like the number 3 overall player.
Yeah, that's
You're telling me I can't stand idiots who say he sucks. He's the number 3 overall player, people.
Yeah,
he doesn't suck.
Tooch is making some really, really good points in a draft, like he said repeatedly in Bear State of Affairs and after Bear State of Affairs, that in this draft, when you have such a second tier pool that is 50 players long, and you have a top tier pool of just 3, 4, 5 players, to go for a position need in Ashton Genty, have him for the next 5 years. If you truly believe that he is a special player, then it makes sense. Just like it would make sense for Travis Hunter. Wouldn't you like to have Travis Hunter playing wide receiver for 10, 15 plays?
Wide receiver in this draft and the best quarterback in this draft.
Exactly. That guy's going to play 800-900 snaps, and he's going to make a difference on offense and defense. Wouldn't you like to have Abdul Card? Of course. I made my plea for him. Mason Graham and Tyler Warren, I put them on this list, but it's arguable that they are blue chippers.
It's arguable, and it's deep at their position. I know it's deep at running back, but there's one running back, and then there's a gap between the next guys. There's a visible gap.
I agree. J2K said,
I agree, Vizza.
Tooch is right. The distance between Genty and the next running back is huge. Genty is a blue chipper, and the other guys are either minus blue chippers or red chippers.
Aldo, when this guy's running for 100, 150 yards every weekend, breaking tackles, making spectacular plays, you're going to forget all about this episode of Bare Their Souls. You're going to be like, I never said Genty was bad. I never said he was bad.
I'm writing this down. Where is it? 54-minute mark, April 22nd. We're going to save this.
I mean, most people are going to go out and buy the jersey, you know, after the first game. After the first game, they're going to go out and buy Genty jerseys.
Goddamn right.
Before the cock crows, they'll have denied it 3 times.
I love it, Tooch. I love it.
It's Easter week.
You're making some great points. Antonio says, "Okay, bro, I promise
Henderson
you,
is
he
great.
won't."
Trayvon Henderson, I like too.
Yeah. I love Antonio's determination on his point of view. This is a great debate, Antonio. Keep bringing it, man. Keep bringing it. Bears Country Productions is in the house. Damn it, wrong page. Yeah, go get your other page up. Foster says, "Fuck you. Get lost, shorty." Okay, so let me introduce one more of those.
I got some news too. I guess we could do my news later. I got some things, but I guess we could do it later because we want some laughs later.
We could always use laughs at any time. I can run the interview with Emery after your laughs if you'd like. Go for it.
All right, let me load it up for. You have a what do you call that thing? A short clip or no?
Like a commercial break?
No, another like press conference clip or no?
Oh yeah, I absolutely do. All right, so this is, as I scroll to it, the whole issue about trading up was addressed by Ian Cunningham. This one's 20 seconds long, and I got plenty more.
When you look at this particular draft class, what would prompt you guys to consider going up from 10?
Good question, Dan. It depends. It depends what the cost is, who the player is, the value, all those sorts of things. We're weighing those right now, but we'll see. We'll see come draft night.
That's exactly what I said. It depends on what the cost is. Yep, they're definitely thinking about it. Although they're definitely thinking about maybe we have to get all the way up to number 4 and clip out the Jaguars and the Raiders. Get the jump on them. But I was wondering if you saw this bit of news.
Colin Kaepernick's wife says the quarterback is still training daily.
Still training. He hasn't played in 8 seasons. He'll be 38, but he wants to play, Aldo. Would you take a trip into the future with me in my time machine, Aldo?
Let's do it.
Yeah, 2055. he's still working out. He's training. I love AI.
I love AI too. You know who he looks like? I'm forgetting the name of the actor, but he's been in a lot of movies. He was in Do the Right Thing. He was one of the pizza guys. I went on to
Giancarlo Esposito a little bit.
No,
maybe?
not Giancarlo. There he is. The Italian guy who was in the back telling his brother, I can't say any of the dialogue from that movie. Anyway, great actor.
Yes, and Colin Kaepernick.
Sad story, man. I mean, I don't want to get into it.
I was a big fan of him when he was playing, man.
Will you ever forget his debut? Bears, 49ers on a Monday night. Nobody knew who he was. He had the funny name, and fucking Jim Harbaugh utilized him brilliantly, and he just Kaepernick torched the Bears defense. It was sad.
There's another guy who's been working out too that wants another. He works out all the time, Aldo. Uncle Rico.
He's ready to get in there. Look at that old football.
He's out there. He's practicing by his van.
I love it. Tooch does comedy too.
I might be a little high though. I'm having cannabis.
Oh, that's what it is.
I got my cannabis seltzer.
How much? What's the THC on that?
It's 4 milligrams. I might be ready. I might be ready for 5.
I think you're ready for 5.
Yeah, I'm ready for 5.
Good stuff.
Emery Hunt. How long's the Emery Hunt interview?
It's 30 minutes.
Okay.
And so I love having Emery on because he does a draft guide, and the draft guide is cool because it really puts a spotlight on some of these guys that we've never heard of. Guys that when it comes to undrafted free agency signing, this is the guy that you really want because he does a great.
On my list.
Well, let's listen to the interview and then see if some of the names aren't familiar to you. This is
my wish list.
Your wish list.
Did you prepare a wish list too?
I do have 5 things on my wish list.
I got 5 too. Yep. 5.
Awesome. And you've already given us the first one, Kenneth Grant, which is a great fucking wish.
The first 2, Genty and Grant.
Oh, look at we were halfway through his list. Come up with more stuff.
We got Grant might be a first rounder though. Before all is said and done, that's what worries me.
Yeah, indeed. I hear you on that. All right, so this is Emery Hunt. This is pre-recorded, and here it goes.
Is there supposed to be sound? I'm not hearing anything from Emery.
You didn't hear it?
I didn't hear any. I could see the picture, but I couldn't hear any sound. Did Barflies experience the same thing?
Let's see. I bet they did. Yeah, I want to see Afro Hunt, Foster. Can anyone? Let me play it in the background here. You still don't hear it?
No. I love Emery though. He's been a friend of the show for quite a long time.
Indeed.
Jay Grizz says no, they couldn't hear either. All
right. Foster says I just hear dogs barking. It's such a big file. I have to play it out of here. Oh, let me see if I can do this. Do 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 do. All right, so there. Share a tab instead. To share audio, share a tab instead. All right. Am I doing it right?
Let's see. Play it up. Nope. You got the volume up too. I see the volume is all the way up too.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe you have to share. Do you have two monitors or one? Two, right?
Two, yeah.
So share like the full screen maybe instead of a tab.
Let's see, I hate to do this during the show, but that's the way it's going to be.
It's always worked in the past, though.
I know. This is
the
weird.
way you did it, yeah.
I made some configuration changes, so that could be why.
Are you high too?
That could be why too. It says to share audio, share a tab instead. So what the fuck? What does he mean by that?
Well, what about if you share a screen? It's not gonna.
No, it's not working. Share screen. Then I go to window because it's a window. Interesting. All right. Well,
I remember how
I'll try to figure it out while we're playing some other videos.
Okay. Should I continue with my wish list, or do you want to give a couple? Or
yeah, let me start with this one first.
Nope. Number one for Aldo.
And it sounds by given what you've shared already that yours are very specific. Mine are a bit more general. So my first wish is land the blue chipper. Yep. We put them up on the screen. You know who they are.
So you're okay with trading up?
I am okay with trading up if I'm getting the blessing from my offense.
I'm not on an island.
No, you're not. Okay. You're not. Get the player you really think is going to unlock things.
In the first round, get the player.
Right. So get that blue chipper. There aren't many, and hopefully we will never draft in the top 10 again the rest of this fucking decade or my life.
Yeah.
So
hopefully you don't want to be drafting. You don't want to be drafting high again. You know?
Right. Exactly. So take
a backup offensive lineman isn't going to help you get to 10, 12 wins.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I'm with everyone who says trenches.
Yeah,
but we
signed 5 of them.
Exactly.
5 trench players, and we acquired 5.
Exactly. And if
that's like a whole draft.
All right. This may be the only opportunity that, for years and years to come to get a blue chipper. Got to go for it. Let me give you one more. The second one is get an explosive offensive weapon. Yep. Now, you don't necessarily have to do that with Genty. It could be JB Blue. Javion Henderson. Yep. Absolutely. It could be somebody who is fast, explosive, is going to do really good things. And there are, with the running backs in this draft, there are explosive weapons later in the draft. And there's some wide receivers too. We'll talk about those more later. All right, Tooch, give me one of your wishes.
So I gave you Ashton Genty and Kenneth Grant. Another one you're talking about, might as well stay on the theme of explosive players.
Okay.
This guy's Trey Harris from Ole Miss.
Oh,
played
yes.
in Lane Kiffin's offense. This
Mhm.
guy's an X receiver, can take the slant to the house. That's what we've asked for. We have asked for a player who could take a slant route to the house. So 6'2", 205, had 1,000 yards receiving despite missing half the season last year with various little injuries. Once he gets going, he's the fastest guy on the field. I talked about him last week, I think, a little bit. True X receiver. He's 23 years old, though, so he's an older player. But he had an insane 5.2 yards per route run. So let me just give you an example about this. So the only other player with 4 yards per route run in college was Devontae Adams.
Mm-hmm.
And he only had 4 yards per route run. This guy had 5.2 yards per route run. Lane Kiffin's offense is that high octane passing offense. So his numbers are slightly inflated, but he is excellent at the catch point. He's got great body control. He box out defenders and high point the ball. I'm telling you, man, natural hands catcher who plucks the ball away. I love it, man. Elite ball tracker on deep routes. He's a physical in the red zone. I think he played 6 games. He had over 7 touchdowns. I like his route running could use a little refinement, but I mean, in high school he was the quarterback to Malik Neighbors. So I mean, he comes from the quarterback position. He's got a quarterback's brain in there. Great field awareness, but man, you catch him if he gets going, he's definitely the fastest player on the field. Was clocked at 23 miles per hour. So I mean, if you want someone, but clutch games, he elevates his game. 153 yards against LSU, and in the Peach Bowl, he had a big game against Penn State a year ago. But if the Bears want, more big play, explosive plays in the passing game, this is the dude.
Dude, I like that. That's an excellent person to have on your wish. So, how many players have you put on your wish list? Name them for us.
I did 5. So my other player is Jordan Birch, defensive end, Oregon. I know Greg Gabriel likes him, man. This guy's an animal, a freakish athlete. He was clocked at 21 miles per hour on the GPS. He weighs close to 300 pounds.
Nice.
Explosive lower body strength. 34-inch vertical. He squatted 685 pounds. He can line up anywhere on the line from 4-eye to 7 tech. He's played in the 3 and 4-point stance. He gives a defensive coordinator a lot of options, a lot of power to collapse the pocket too. He walks the tackles back. He's got a high motor, man. He doesn't quit. He regularly recorded cleanup sacks and pressures with second efforts. Batted 6 batted balls in 2024, and he's a strong tackler. He had a missed tackle rate under 12%. Good finishing ability. Like the player, he fits Dennis Allen's system.
That's a W.
Yep, he's got good length, arm length as well to keep linemen off his frame.
He is a fascinating prospect because everything that he's done and everything that he looks like, to me, says this guy should be a top 50 pick. But I keep hearing he's going to be 3rd round, 4th round. So what is it that's getting him, down there?
He's going to go in the 2nd or high
you think,
3rd.
You think so?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
3rd round is a good spot. Look, edge rusher's a premium position. That's why I think he'll go higher than the 4th round.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
A 3rd round minimum, 2nd day for sure, I think. My 5th guy is Donovan Jackson, offensive lineman at Ohio State. This guy's got rare versatility, seamless transition to left tackle in midseason. He didn't allow a single sack during the college playoffs, filling in for Josh Simmons. Probably a guard, but man, 32 reps on the bench press. He's got ideal mass, 6'5", 320 pounds. You want to talk about standing up to the bull rush, like Braxton Jones, like we always say, he can't anchor. This is one dude, man. His core strength, anchor, NFL ready. You know, once he gets his hands in there on the defensive lineman's chest plate, they're not getting loose. His initial punch, I really like it. Shock the offensive lineman. He's got really good coordination too to get out in space. And man, he will pancake dudes. Man, nasty finisher. I love this. I love if you could get this guy somewhere. Then you have insurance at guard and tackle. I think second round for him, maybe third round. I would take this guy in the second round with 41.
He reminds me in his play a little bit, and maybe J2K can weigh in here, of Joe Thuney.
Yep.
You know, a guard that can an emergency play left tackle and play fairly well. I mean, Thuney had a bad Super Bowl, but that was also a lot of game planning by the Eagles. They just saw the weakness there at left tackle and took advantage of it. Yeah. But I like that guy. Review all the players you got so far.
So Ashton Genty, I wish the Bears to get him. Of course, Kenneth Grant, Donovan Jackson, the offensive lineman from Ohio State, Jordan Birch, the defensive end from Oregon, and Trey Harris, man, the explosive wide receiver from Ole Miss.
So let me give you my wish list, and hopefully maybe you can fill in some players here, because like I said, mine's it's a bit more general. All right, so I said that want a blue chipper, definitely want an explosive offensive weapon. You know, somebody, you know, like who is the guy's name who's really small but built like a rock, explosive, it can run low 4.4s.
RJ Harvey.
RJ Harvey is a perfect example. That's not the guy that I was thinking of.
Taj Brooks.
Taj Brooks. Taj Brooks. He's
got a lot of miles, but I like him. Yeah,
he's not speedy, but he can. He's a touchdown machine. Hampton, that's the guy I was thinking of. Thank you,
Amarian Hampton.
No, not Amarian. It's not Amarian. Gosh, it's a little guy. Hampton. Gosh, it'll come to me.
RJ Harvey is, you know, like a little bowling ball. There's a guy on I forgot what's the Auburn running back's name.
Dylan Sampson. That's the guy that I was thinking about.
Jarquez Hunter is the Auburn back.
Another good player.
Dylan Sampson, he's the home run hitter.
Exactly. You know? Yep. That's when. So when I want an explosive player with my second wish, Dylan Sampson is that type of player. Now, of course, so is Ashton Genty, but we'll talk more about that later. My third wish is a safety. John Santucci, a safety to replace Byard or maybe even Brisker, right? Because we're worried about that.
I agree with you with safety, but here's the thing with I've noticed in years is that and I like some of the safeties at the top of the draft, but safety is a position that isn't like an elite or position of need. It's kind of like downtrending where folks think they can get players in the later rounds of the draft at safety. And that's just because they play so far away from the ball, you know, and but teams don't place as high of an importance on it in drafts, you know.
You see, I totally agree with you. I think that has been the prominent truth about the safety position for the last 10, maybe even 20 years.
Hopefully it changes.
I do think that it is changing because what is happening now is you are seeing teams use the Saquon Barkley method for their offense, which is to run the ball against those shell defenses. Right. And you're going to pick up a lot of yards.
You make a great point.
So these safeties have to be good tacklers. They have to be good play recognition. I got a short video, a minute.
They got to cover deep too.
They got to cover deep, too. Danny Shimon's top 10 safeties. Tooch, take a close look, and we could talk about some of these players that you like.
Who was his number one again? I forgot.
Malachi Starks.
Okay.
I always want to mispronounce that name for some reason.
Yeah, good ball player too.
Yeah. All 10
I like all
are
those
starters.
guys.
They're all going to be starters, right?
Yep.
Give me any one of them.
I think so. In the Bears, I think on the Bears, yes.
Yes, because you need both. You need a replacement for Byard for sure, and then Brisker. I'm not sure the Bears are going to extend that contract. So
he's out of contract after this year.
Exactly. He's playing for a contract, and so watch closely. If all of a sudden he starts playing for a contract, and we've all seen players do that, then we got to get on it.
It's a deep draft for safeties. I mean, we could get some talent in the later rounds. Safety group was loaded, Iceberg.
Yep. And some of those safeties you saw in that video can play the slot. And what happened the other day, the defensive coordinator is saying we're looking at Kyler Gordon playing outside cornerback and safety. We want to add a second position besides slot. We would move him either to the outside corner or safety position for some of those plays, for some plays. So if that's the case, then you acquiring another safety is almost imperative. A safety that can play the slot is my point. And there are some that can do that very well. The kid from Ohio State, Ransom.
Yeah.
Oh,
Enforcer.
my goodness.
He's had some injuries like, what's the other kid's name? Kevin Winston. Both had some injuries. But Ransom is probably the guy out there that will whack you. Deep, you're more afraid to go across the middle with that dude out there.
What do you think about Nick Amenwari being drafted by the Bears if he falls to number 2 and the Bears still have picked number 39?
Second round, you mean?
Yeah, second round. What do you think about Amenwari?
I think he'd be a good fit in this defense.
Mm-hmm.
He only runs like linebackers, and I'm not. I mean. I'm still waiting for Tremaine Edmonds to pop. He just hasn't played like we want him to play. With all that talent, and now he's all that experience.
Yeah. But, well, it's funny that you say that because I think that's my next wish. It is draft Edmonds' successor.
Wow, what a great segue!
How about that?
I didn't even know. I didn't see these notes. Yep.
So here's the thing. I still have hope that Edmonds is going to have an excellent year in 2025. I think that the new coaching staff could be good for him. They're going to ask him to blitz. He's going to be much more involved. It's not going to be every play of him having to recognize where the offensive linemen are and trying to disengage from blocks. I think he's going to be asked to play more aggressively. And so this is his big chance. He could do something incredible this year. But if he doesn't, we should draft a guy who was like Jack Sanborn, but fits the team's need for a speedier linebacker. So draft
a hybrid player,
right.
I could see Dennis Allen having some fun with him. This guy wouldn't know what to do with him, though, Aldo.
That's for sure.
Stay on the beach.
That TJ Edwards talked today about Dennis Allen has told him that he wants him to play some middle linebacker. Allen wants guys who are versatile, who can play off the ball, can play in the middle, can play defensive tackle, can go outside. He wants a very, very guess what I'm doing, motherfuckers defense. He wants to dictate stuff. If he gets the players who can help him, because I'm almost getting the impression that Allen is as innovative as Ben Johnson. When you're talking about moving players around and having Kyler Gordon play safety and stuff like that, if these players can handle it, this could be really a fucking special, interesting season.
Does Dennis Allen have a sinker pitch like
We'll find out. We'll find out.
You saw Ben Johnson throw out the first pitch?
Yeah, show us that.
I don't have it.
I loaded it. I left you a message.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
I got one with sound and one without.
Oh, okay. Let me see it. Where's the video?
Ben Johnson without sound. Here it is.
Okay.
So, describe this for our audience.
Look at that. Look at that. It's like Greg Maddox on that pitch, man.
He intentionally put something on that to make it a sinker.
He obviously played some pitcher, man. You know?
Yeah. This is with the sound from the
Let's see this thing.
Able to split some heads wide open, just like Ben Johnson. Let's go.
A little change piece.
Yeah, a little sink piece right there across the zone, and yeah, he is ready to roll.
That's pretty cool.
Is there nothing this coach can't do?
Oh my God! Keep him away from my wife.
Right.
Oh my God.
I love it.
That is awesome.
Yeah, a little sinker ball with some movement there, man.
Yeah, and it looks like he's a full-fledged Cubs fan. He wants nothing to do with the White Sox.
Can you blame him though?
Really?
The White Sox have been tanking for 10 years.
Antonio is still fighting with people in the chat about the topic that you brought up earlier. I mean, they go back and forth. They're starting to gang up on Antonio. Look, call the cops.
This is all I have to say. It's the 50th year of us drafting Walter Payton, number 4 overall. Let's
50 years ago
trade up to number 4 and get the next great Bears running back.
Oh my goodness! Okay,
I mean,
Foster,
Walter Payton and Gale Sayers, they didn't face elite competition. Ain't nobody would say they weren't any good, though, Aldo.
Yes, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Yep.
All right, my last wish. Where is it here? All right, this one I think, Tooch, you're gonna love because you are made out of this fiber. I want this team to, after the draft, we can say the Bears got nastier. They got nastier. They drafted a couple of players here who will fucking rip your ear off with their teeth.
Grant.
There you go.
Yeah.
Guys like that linebacker from UCLA, Carson Schlesinger, guys like that, guys who like Omar Norman Lott. This guy spit it on a player. This guy beat the shit out of a player.
In the first round, I would consider some players that maybe other people wouldn't consider in the first round, like Kenneth Grant. And I love Derek Harmon from Oregon.
I was just going to say Derek Harmon.
Defensive tackle. If the Bears doubled down and got Harmon and then Kenneth Grant in the second round, I wouldn't be upset with that at all, man.
I hear you.
Dude, we're nobody running on us, and we're gonna have pass rush out the ass. But
I hear you.
I would be all right with that. And then you take maybe a running back, Henderson or Caleb Johnson, someone like that, But I'm kind of the mood of getting a blue chip player and other teams having to game plan around and a guy that will touch the ball 20 to 25 times and make Ben Johnson's offense grow. And I want the Bears to have another great running back again.
Tooch, a lot of people have been saying
it could be nostalgic, but yeah.
Yeah, that their wish would be the Bears get 3-4 starters out of this draft. Why not think bigger? Why not think that they get 3 or 4 potential Hall of Famers, guys who are going to be like Lance Briggs, Peanut Tillman, those guys should be in the Hall of Fame. Olin Kreutz, these types of players is what this Chicago Bears team needs. There's a handful of players
run with those guys.
Exactly. There's a handful of players on this team that we can definitely say are approaching the Olin Kreutzes or the Peanut Tillmans. Jalen Johnson is approaching. Here's Jalen. Here's Peanut, and here's Jalen potentially catching up to him. He needs to come up with big plays like Peanut did.
We signed our Olin Kreutz in free agency.
Yeah, look at that. I forgot about that. But we need a center. We need Drew Dahlman to not maybe he's not going to be like Olin Kreutz, where Olin Kreutz will help the nasty factor of the team. But Drew Dahlman could help the intelligence factor. He is so good at leading the 4 other offensive linemen. And so we need greatness. We need greatness.
Olin was the leader of that team, the locker room enforcer.
Yep. Greg has that great story.
Fred Miller's jaw. Remember that?
Yes. Greg told me that story in detail because he was there.
God.
Yeah. Well, next time we have Greg on, we should have him share that story.
Yeah, I gotta hear that story. I never heard it, but
he's coming on Saturday. Our draft coverage Saturday is.
See if we can get him to tell the story.
Oh, I'm sure you will. And Tooch is going to be on for the first 3 hours, I think, right, Tooch?
Yep, on Sunday.
and maybe
I might do the whole day if my wife.
No, I'm talking about Saturday.
Oh, Saturday. I mean, yeah, Saturday.
Yeah.
Did I say Sunday?
You might do the whole day.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Yep, I'll stick around as long as I can, and have. I'm trying to see if Barrelissimo could pop in to give some commentary.
I'd love that. I'd love that.
Bears picks. He'll love to break those down. He loves that. And then you'll have AC. He'll give a good interview.
Okay.
You're going to be starting off for the first hour?
Sunday, yeah, you and I.
Saturday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And Danny might pop in.
All right, good. We got Danny and Greg Gabriel will be day 1 and day 2.
Greg Gabriel is doing a show on Friday and Saturday morning.
Okay.
But he also said he might pop in sometime on Saturday during the course of the draft. Awesome. So maybe before the 7th round picks or after the 7th round picks.
All right.
So yeah, we got a big party going on here this entire week here at the bar.
Love it.
It's draft party. This is, I want to one year take the draft off from the bar room and just kind of enjoy it with a party of friends, where I could watch it on TV or I could watch
rent a skybox.
Bears Country Productions. Yeah, rent the skybox.
We have the skybox for the fantasy draft.
Fantasy football
draft. Alex Brown came in. He wouldn't leave.
He wouldn't leave.
He drank all our booze. He was wasted.
When we arrived at 11 a.m., it looked like he already had a few. He just stopped and talked to us and kept talking and kept talking. And
if only I could live that lifestyle.
Oh, my gosh. He's one of my heroes.
He talked our ears off. I love him.
Yes. By the way, and BCP wants us to do a crosstalk with them. So at one point, Tooch, why don't you go over with them? And they can come over with us, and I can go over there, and some of their guys can come over there.
I love Mr. Shorty.
Shorty and I are talking tomorrow to hammer that out. We're definitely going to do a crosstalk with BCP.
I don't think Mr. Shorty likes me anymore, but I love him.
No, he loves you so much that he wants to hire you to talk sweet nothings into his ear.
And Carl cracks me up, man. It's so funny.
Carl is a stitch. There's this nice little drama going on with J2K and Carl. J2K, you want to give us an update in the chat about what's going on there?
I love J2K. When is J2K going to come on?
Hey, J2K, you got an open invitation. Do you want to come in on Saturday and talk about the day 3 of the draft? That would be awesome. Yeah. J2K says it's all good between him and that fucking asshole Carl. Oh, they did talk. All right. I love it, J2K. Peace and love. J2K is one of the smart ones.
One of the top shelf.
Right, and you know what? I love Foster covers too.
Yeah, I love Foster. Yep.
Foster needs to come on Saturday because he has, out of all the Chicago Bears podcasters, fan base podcasters, Foster has the best, most interesting voice, don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, it's a gravelly, scratchy voice.
Jeez, his throat is made out of nicotine.
Yeah. Yep. It's nothing left but nicotine, a wall of nicotine.
That's right. Sometimes when I narrate my videos, I'll have a couple puffs and stuff. In 1985, the Chicago Bears.
Perfect.
Mr. Shorty, damn it, I fucking love Foster. Absolutely. Okay, I got more audio from the press conference today. I'd love to get your thoughts on this. Tooch, this is where is it? There it is. This is polls being asked about Darnell Wright potentially moving to left tackle. We know that in this draft, there are more right tackles and maybe not even a good left tackle. So
Armand
Membo, perfect example. This is Pose's response.
As it relates to draft preparation, how do you view Darnell Wright? Do you see him exclusively on the right side, or are you open-minded to shifting him to the left if something materializes that would?
Yeah, I think that's a conversation. We'll see how everything goes. He clearly has the ability to play left and right. We saw that in college. That was part of the value in taking Darnell. So if he had to play left, I think he'd play left. And obviously, I think we're all excited about his stuff to go right.
Tooch, he was in clear liar mode there. I mean, he started off the press conference. I want to congratulate Ben Johnson for throwing a great first pick, TJ Edwards and Roma Dunze for winning the Brian Piccolo. He was all happy and stuff. And then the questions start about what you could do and could you trade up and stuff. And all of a sudden, he was like,
Yep.
I can't say.
Who the hell's this guy?
Exactly. I got another one like that. I think this is Orion Pose talking about the pool of players and blue chippers and minus blue chippers.
With 2 days to go, how large is the pool of players you're looking at right now for pick 10?
Yeah, there's a large pool of very good football players, and then I think you can do some different things to get more players that are going to be able to come in and help your team quickly.
Yeah, that was the non-answer of all non-answery answers.
I know that was
Most non-answer of all non-answers.
Do you think that
he contradicted himself a couple times there? I think, Aldo. Yeah, terrible poker face too.
He should just. I mean, Ian Cunningham did such a nice job. So, for instance, this is Ian Cunningham answering the question about drafting a running back.
Yeah, and there's obviously a bunch of really good running backs at the top of this draft. What's your philosophy in terms of weighing the instant reward of that position with also the longevity and how that compares to other positions?
Yeah, I think the values, if he's a playmaker and a really good player, you take a really good player. That's the beauty of our process. Our philosophy is best player available. We weigh premium position versus non-premium position, but at the end of the day, it's a playmaker, right? And if we see him in that role, I think you can go take a playmaker that's not a premium position.
What'd you get out of that, Tooch?
Close to the vest.
But didn't I? What I heard was, we wouldn't mind having a Genty.
If you go and get your player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at Bear Truth agrees. He says basically Ian painted a picture of Ashton Genty with his mouth.
Yeah,
I love it, VT9.
Good job.
I truly believe that
neither of these guys want to give anything away.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And they might be talking like that and leaving indirect hints about Genty only because they're trying to work on a trade for somebody who wants Genty if Genty falls to 10. That's a possibility too. There might be planting seeds, doing misdirection. You remember Ryan Pace making dinner reservations under somebody else's fake name or some shit like that. They're pulling out all the tricks. All right. Another great soundbite here from Ian Cunningham. He's talking about here how the scouts have had to get acclimated to the new coaching staff and that the scouts have to make some changes. This is really good. This is a minute long.
I think one of the best things that we did was when they first got here in February, we had DA and the whole defensive coaching staff come into the draft room, and they met with all of our scouts and all of our personnel, all of our analytics, and told us what they were looking for at each position. And I think it's super helpful just for our scouts, for all of us to be on the same page, to know what we're looking for. And we did the same thing with Declan and the offensive coaching staff. And then after that was done, Ben stayed in and was able to share his 2 cents as well. So again, that communication up front is super important. It paints a picture for us so that we can go out and get the perfect players for them.
Was there a lot of adjusting at that point? Because you guys start your draft preparation months before that.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of adjustment just in terms of, you're evaluating for a certain scheme. Offensively, it didn't change that much. Defensively, a little bit, but our scouts are awesome, and DA did an outstanding job of communicating exactly what he wanted. So for us to make that transition, it was fairly seamless.
That guy's good. That guy is good.
Very good.
He was very good.
Yep, made the transition seamless.
Yeah. And so that had to be a fascinating process. I hope that the good folks in the communications team with the Chicago Bears, they do great behind the scenes videos. I hope that they've kind of captured that, the bringing in of the new coaches, talking to the scouts and telling them, no, we don't want that kind of player on this defense. We want this kind of a player. I hope they've captured some of that behind the scenes stuff, because that's priceless. That's fascinating. Awesome. Yeah. Yep. I love the work that they've been doing over there the last 2-3 years, the Bears media team. Those videos, 1920 football. Yeah. I wouldn't watch them at first because I thought, it's just kind of, just showing some behind the scenes. But there was no good storytelling. Now they've got some excellent storytelling.
Yeah, they raised the bar, definitely.
Mm-hmm. All right. I want to play one more for you. Actually, two more if I can.
Yeah, lay it on me.
All right, so this is TJ Edwards talking about how his rapport is growing with Ben Johnson. And he's asked, what about Ben Johnson mentioning that stumble fumble play that you
he
felt.
Was a captain too, right, Edwards, last
Edwards,
year?
yeah. Well, half the team was,
sure.
as you know.
Yeah, I forgot.
With you, because obviously he doesn't make that joke about stumble bum if he doesn't already have that sort of bond with you. How has he done that in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, I couldn't tell if he was trying to piss me off or not with that, as he knows. But no, I mean, obviously, going against him for a couple years, just knowing some guys that have been with him, I think we're still building that rapport right now, to be honest. But he's a guy who's going to be open with who he is, and makes you feel comfortable and trying to be yourself as well. So I think, we'll continue to connect. But I think him just being around, he's around. He was around all the drills yesterday and just kind of walking around, eyeing things up, and easy guy to talk to. But I know, once we get going, things will change, and I'm excited from a defensive perspective to go against his scheme in practice again, and show him that he got us a couple times, but that's it. So I'm excited about that.
How cool is that?
I love it, man. I have such high hopes for this coach and this coaching staff. Like I said, we've been saying for a long time, and since they hired Ben Johnson, how excited we are, because we haven't really had good coaches since Lovie Smith.
Yep.
We just have had a series of stumble bums.
Yeah.
Right?
We actually
used the term.
Yeah, we had good coaches, and then something would go wrong. I'll give you an example. The year that Adam Gase, he actually had, he had 1 year with Adam Gase had with Jay Cutler was really promising. Gase was getting through to him. Jay Cutler started sounding like a leader at press conferences, and Gase was really preaching much more than X's and O's. Jay, you gotta, have body posture that says confidence. You gotta talk. And Jay did a pretty good job. He had a injury-filled season, and in McCown played maybe arguably better, but we've had some good coaches, but then he's gone after 1 year, and maybe that was a good thing because he ended up shitting the bed as a head coach. But we have had some good coaches.
I wonder where he is now, Adam Gase.
Yeah, he's probably
coaching. He's in college, isn't he? A head coach in college.
He's probably sucking Trestman's dick or something.
I wonder where he is, man. Wow.
All right, so I love what Brian Gilmore wrote here. He says, for any who may not already know, this is the time to be optimistic and have high hopes and get excited about all the new teams under the draft mystery. My hope is that we Bears fans don't start complaining immediately after the draft when they don't draft who we want. You know what, Brian? When I was coming up with my wish list, I thought the very same thing. I would love it if that we are supportive of this new regime. Yeah. And while Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham are back as the main decision makers in the front office, Ben Johnson's influence and the rest of his coaching staff's influence should mean that we should be excited. And whoever they come up with a name, we should have some trust. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to be a little bit more of a fan than a journalist.
As long as they don't draft another punter, Aldo.
I agree with you again. Any round.
Get behind any player except another punter.
I agree 100%.
I'm on the record. What's the minute mark here? I'm on the record.
139-22 on April 22nd.
Tooch disavows punter in this draft.
I love it. All right, let me play another one here. This is Oh gosh. I mentioned earlier about TJ Edwards playing middle linebacker. Let's just listen to him talk about it.
He's definitely kind of mentioned that, and just in terms of, I think the way he's installing right now is just teaching concepts, right? So he wants everyone to kind of understand everything so that we can go out there and play fast no matter who's in what spot, right? Which is something I think as a defense, it helps you in the end, understanding kind of how the whole picture fits. But to me, I think, I'll kind of do whatever is asked of me. I think I've got here. I played Mike most of my career, and then got here and played a little bit of will, played a lot of will, and kind of got to understand that. You understand the areas I need to be better at, understand the things I do well. So I'm pretty comfortable in both. So I think Tremaine and the rest of the linebackers feel the same way. So I think for us, we're just trying to learn in general, kind of the whole concepts of the defense, and then from there on out, we'll kind of figure out. I'm guessing where we'll play.
Great reasoning, right?
I love this guy. I mean, I'm so glad he got another contract.
There were a lot of people who thought that he didn't deserve this contract, and it's not a big contract. I thought it was good. But I love what he said there. One of the best ways to train. Tooch, have you ever had a job where you cross-trained for other positions just in case that guy was sick?
Right now, man. I'm doing that right now. It's killing me, man. My mind is like everywhere.
Yeah, it's tough.
I'm training for like 3 different positions right now.
Wow. See, that's tough. And
it's
that's
hard to
what
do it in your 50s.
Even even harder.
Damn, I just I don't, I'm not retaining as much as I used to,
Oh, tell me about it, man. Put these videos together, and my mind will drift off, and then I come back. Okay, so who am I editing? Is it Rome Odunze or TJ Edwards? Speaking of Rome, this is both Antoine Randall, the receivers coach, talking about Rome Odunze, and then Rome at today's press conference referring to.
I had Rome first, so it's good. And I called his coach Shep, who was in Washington. Can we get him? And then it didn't work out in Detroit, but I'm glad he's here because here we go.
My first time hearing that, when he came up here, and that means a lot to me. I had myself number 1 too, so I think that we're on the same page with that. So that's good though. But he's been great so far. Been learning a lot from him. Just got to learn some different technique standpoints from him the other day, and hopefully if I can get out of here soon enough, I can go learn some more today. So.
Tooch, I agree with what Brian said. This is the time to be optimistic, but are we being taken for suckers again?
That's always the worry. The sword of Damocles.
Yes, it's like me going to a strip bar. By the end of the night, I'm getting married with her. She said,
"We're getting married." She said she loves me.
She let me smell her hair.
I love the enthusiasm. Was that Antoine Randall? Was he a member of the Lions staff?
He was the wide receivers coach with Ben Johnson, and at that press conference, he talked about the rapport that they built together in Detroit, and that he's really happy to come to Chicago with them. Plus,
he's a Chicago guy.
Exactly, had a lot of success at basketball and football.
Yep,
and it ended up being a great. The only, I think this is correct, Tooch, maybe the only wide receiver to throw a touchdown pass in a Super Bowl, Antoine Randall.
Okay. I didn't know that. That's great.
Rome Odunze mentioned it today. So, man, I'm just feeling really giddy right now. And I don't think that the Bears can do anything in this draft. I don't think they're going to trade up one to get Mitchell Trubisky. I just don't see this regime doing this. Ryan Pace really set back the franchise a generation by making that move. I think Poles has made his worst mistakes.
We didn't even know who Mitchell Trubisky was.
Well, I'll tell you this, Phil, Shane, and Lauren talked a lot about him. And then leading up to the draft, they were saying he is definitely the worst of the quarterbacks that are available. And then draft day comes, and they were happy that we got a quarterback. And I'm like, what are you guys talking about? You just talked about how bad he was. But
at this point, it was like, we're addressing the quarterback position.
That's exactly what they were saying. You got to give it to Pace. He went up and got his guy. His guy, don't you remember me talking about
quarterback's a lot different position to evaluate than any other position.
Greg Gabriel says that every week on the Open to his show. He says there aren't enough people who are competent to be proper judges of quarterback talent.
Yep.
But the same is true as every position, don't you think?
The quarterback is different because, like I said, they're the driver of the car. If they don't understand how to drive the car, they're not going to have any success.
Yep.
And that's hard to evaluate because at times, a college coach is going to puff up their guy. And you're watching tape, and then they go to the combine. There's the measurables thrown in, but you don't know how he's going to perform under pressure. And the highest pressure position in sports is the quarterback. There's no higher pressure. Maybe relief pitcher, or hockey goalie. I don't know, but I mean, to be quarterback is top.
Yep.
It's the highest. I mean, look at Mike Tomczak had to hire a sports psychologist to deal with Mike Ditka.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how hard the position is. You don't know if they're going to crumble, under pressure. There are guys like Rex Grossman in the Super Bowl. The other team was like, this guy's scared to death. You could hear the people shouting, it's nerve-wracking.
I'm glad you brought that up, Tooch, because I have to remind myself every once in a while how difficult it is what these guys do. I mean, I have missed a 12-inch putt because my friends were, saying, you're going to miss, you're going to miss.
Noonan.
Exactly. And that's for $1 fucking bet. I lost $1 and I got nervous and I missed the putt. Now, these guys are playing in front of tens of thousands of people. They have millions more watching on TV. The pressure that they put on themselves, that they feel obligated to perform for their family and their teammates and the coaching staff and the organization that's paying them millions. It's difficult. I really
for every Jamarcus Russell, there's an Achilles Smith, a Joey Harrington, or a Ryan Leaf, or a Mitch Trubisky. They get it wrong at the top. It's the hardest position to get.
It really is.
The other positions are a lot easier to nail. They're going to at least produce and possibly have good careers. I know that I could bring up Brian Bosworth, great college player. Didn't exactly make it in the pros just because it's a different era, a different speed, and he had the injury history as well.
Right. Yeah, but I think the story on Boz was that he was taking so many steroids, and typically athletes that do, it ends up hurting them towards the end of their careers. They start to break down.
Breaking down. Yep.
Yeah. All right, so I've got your 5 wishes. You got my 5 wishes. Let me see if I've collected any people who were sharing.
You got Emery Hunt, maybe what he the guys that he talked about. Or?
Oh yes, okay. So he talked about Jaden Blue.
Okay, yep.
The running back out of Texas.
Texas running back, yep.
Right, because I told him, help me, find some explosive blue chip running backs. Not blue chip, but explosive running backs in this draft. And Jaden Blue
is a good one.
Yep. Trevor Etienne from Georgia. He pointed him out, and he actually has Etienne ranked number 4 in his draft guide.
Oh, okay, a lot of people like him. Yeah.
Yep. I know Danny likes him, but he doesn't have him in his top 10 running backs. By the way, I really urge you to watch this interview. I'm going to post it tonight on our YouTube channel, so it'll be a pre-recorded video that'll appear. If you are a subscriber to the Barroom Network, you can watch that. Since I couldn't get the audio issue worked out, we won't play it tonight, but it will be available later this morning.
Jaden Blue is a lot like a Jahmyr Gibbs, similarly built. I could see him. He's young too. I think he's a true junior, maybe.
I think he is. Yes.
He's a true junior. Yep.
There's another guy, and I'm looking up his name here. Plays for Lake Forest College here in the Chicago area, where the Bears are. He's a wide receiver, and I just want to make sure I got his name. It's AK something. AJ Jackson. AJ Jackson is a guy.
I don't know this player.
Yeah, see, this is why I love talking to Emery.
Yeah,
and his draft guide, which is only $20, $25. I really identify some of these players that you wouldn't think might have a chance. And Emery was forthright. He said this guy is going to be an undrafted free agent, but he is going to be a priority undrafted free agent because he had scouts from just about every NFL team watch him play at Lake Forest College, because
Wow.
the word was out about A.J. Jackson that he's got excellent hands. He's really good at gaining yards after the catch. This guy is one of those, long shot prospects that has the tools and has dominated in his level of play. Let's see how he can do in the NFL. So
I got to go look for some video.
yeah, trust me, I got some for you.
Oh, nice.
I'll send it to you after the show.
Yeah.
So that's part of the things, and you know Emery. We talked a little bit about his career. I kidded him at the
He's
beginning.
former running back himself.
That's right. He played football. Now he's been calling college football games for CBS Sports.
Right,
he's on the CBS Sports HQ channel frequently, and
awesome.
he actually called a couple of pro games. I go, really? And he goes, yeah, European League pro games. So he's got that on his resume too. So I love talking to Emery because he kind of grew up with the barroom over the years. You know, he was just starting out. We were just starting out, and we've both grown together, as he said on the show. So that was pretty cool. What about this Illinois wide receiver?
Pat Bryant?
Bryant, yeah. I mean, the analytics on him say that he is a very special player. We might have to.
He didn't run well, so I mean he may drop. But for another former quarterback, he's kind of like that Cam Meredith, the double move. He's got the size and good hands, good route runner. He has that nice sideline balance too. You like when making the sideline grab and keeping the toes in and stuff. Yeah, I like Pat Bryant. I like the quarterback at Illinois. I like Luke Altmaier. I watched the game Illinois versus Purdue. It was like a shootout. It was like 55-54, like overtime shootout. Yeah. But and Luke Altmaier decided to stay at Illinois for this last season.
I think that's a good thing, yeah.
So yeah, he could have gone probably to Tennessee if he wanted to take Nico's place there, but decided to stay home with Illinois. I think that's great.
I'm glad that he did that. There's something special potentially happening at Illinois. I'm not saying, championship football at the national level.
Tough, man. Was it Brett Bielema? Brett Bielema?
Bielema, is it?
Bielema, yeah.
So under his
defensive
leadership,
coach.
he's really improved that team. So it's good to see. J2K says, I heard Bryant had the lowest drop percentage of any wide receiver in this class.
Good hands, yep.
That's probably what I read, J2K.
I think the Bears could use some height at the wide receiver position. All we really have is Rome.
Right.
I don't know I don't know who else they have on. They still have that Colin Johnson. I don't think he's there anymore.
Tooch, let me get your thoughts on this. Tyler Warren at the tight end position. We don't get Genty. Warren could be that blue chip minus player, that A+ red chip player. Could you endorse that, Tyler Warren? Because Genty is gone, we couldn't work out a deal. Tyler Warren at 10?
I'd be all right with that. I like the other guy better the more I watch
Colston Loveland.
To me, he's like a Travis Kelce. He's a route runner. He's got the speed. He's got the body control, the great hands. Man, this dude goes up and gets stuff. He makes some amazing catches.
Yeah, well, everything that you said, Tyler Warren does too.
Yeah, Tyler Warren does too, and he's got the rumble.
The thing about Loveland, he's a better blocker, from what I hear, than Warren. So he gives you that.
Warren's got the size to be a good blocker, though. Eventually he just needs a little work. With the tight ends coach and NFL strength program. But I don't know. It's hard to say. I think we have Cole Kmet in this position. I think Cole Kmet has really turned into a nice. If we had, I wouldn't be pushing this hard for a running back if we had somebody. We have DeAndre Swift. He's an okay player, but teams aren't worried about him at all.
You want guys that the defensive coordinators have to game plan for.
Yeah,
right?
I think Tyler Warren teams will probably have to game plan against.
I would agree with that, just because he's going to be used so creatively. By the way, Vizzle reminds me of something that I want to do during our draft coverage. Vizzle writes, Aldo, did you see the green rooms at Green Bay for draft? Looks like a whole furniture store. Tooch, promise me because you are a very, very talented comedy writer. Promise me you're going to come up with some Green Bay jokes that we can use during the draft to just pick on the fans, the facilities, the frozen tundra jokes. I don't know what you come up with, but you're very good at it. Please work on a few.
Live from the underground cheese cabins of Lambeau Field.
Exactly. There you go. J2K wants to know our thoughts on Ricky White III from UNLV.
Wouldn't mind having him. He's an older player, a decent route runner, decent speed too. I love that UNLV offense was that rah go spread offense. You know, he really did nice. He's a sleeper. I definitely think he's got some potential.
Yeah. J2K, I can't say that I've evaluated him, but when you write four-phase special teamer, count me in. He's a guy, if I'm working at Hallis Hall, he's a guy I would be studying because the Bears, whoever they draft at wide receiver, and they will draft somebody at wide receiver, has to have the ability to play special teams. One of my guys is Kimmeray DK out of University of Florida, played 3 years with Wisconsin, went to for NIL purposes.
A lot of people like him,
but also to get exposure at Florida. This guy ran like a 4.45 at, or even better than that. I want to say 4.41 at the combine or at his pro day. He is a special teams gunner and returner, and he's ascending now. J2K, when we were talking about this with Draft on Tap, J2K kind of mentioned, he's not a sleeper. He's been, but I never really heard of him. So
I like J2K, the other Florida kid too, Elijah Badger.
Oh yeah,
that dude's really good too.
Excellent, really is. But this DK kid,
I'm gonna watch some more DK.
Please do.
I was focused on some other players on Florida, but
so. I told, Danny and I for Draft on Tap, he did day 3 gems. He identified 9 players who would be gems if we could draft them in day 3. And so I came up with 4 or 5. And DK was the guy that he looked at and he goes, oh, wow, Aldo found a good one. And so now Danny is going to present his mock draft 2.0. And in the 7th round, guess who he picked?
It's got DK.
Yes, that's right.
Very good.
And DK is dope. J2K has seen him. He knows him. So, take a look at some of that tape. You'll really be impressed.
Definitely.
Mr. Shorty wants to know about Kevin White. You asked, where are they now? Where the hell is Kevin White now? I'm sure he's in a gym somewhere.
I found Adam Gase, too. Adam Gase recently joined a new venture in an entirely different role from football. He joined the 33rd Team, a media and technology company, as a strategic advisor. Which 33rd Team, I imagine it's football specific, right?
Yeah, totally football specific. Mike Martz works with them, other former coaches, high-profile coaches, and writers. They've got some money, and they're paying some people to do work. So it's interesting. Gase is there. If you are a student of the game, I urge you to watch the 33rd Team website and their X account. Good stuff there. Yep.
Cool.
Although I'll never forget that Adam Gase press conference with the Jets. Do you remember that one?
Or Asperger's type.
Was that Asperger's?
I don't know. I don't know. Something like that. I don't know.
I don't want to make fun of a guy who's got a disorder, but that was fucking funny.
It was wild. Looked like he was really high.
You know what? I caught myself doing that a few times on this show, where I've gotten high and somebody's talking and my mind is wandering and my eyes are going that way. And I look back at it and I go, shit, should I edit that out?
What the heck was I doing?
At 66 years old, I don't give a shit what you think about me. That is good. All right, Tooch, let's wrap up our thoughts with a little bit more draft talk. I want to ask you the question that is leading all the sports talk shows, and that is Shedeur Sanders. Emery Hunt and I talked about it. You can watch that when I post that show, but Emery thinks that Shedeur is getting the Colin Kaepernick type treatment in that he is paying the price for his father being outspoken, for he being being outspoken. So Colin Kaepernick isn't the best example, but being treated unfairly because he's different is what I'm trying to say. So what say you? Is Shedeur Sanders a high-quality quarterback? Or if he drops late into the first round like Aaron Rodgers did, is that something that you wouldn't have a problem with? The guy has some question marks.
I think he's better than people think, to be honest. I think his ceiling's kind of like Drew Brees, but he's got a little more. He's not a scrambler, but he's got a little more run than Drew Brees, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he thrived on the short passing game. So if you like the short passing game, your offense is predicated on the short passing game. A lot like how Brock Purdy, was able to find success. And even now they've expanded Purdy's pass level.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Shedeur, in a draft where there's not a lot of quarterbacks and there's always teams that need one. I mean, like, look at the Steelers. They don't have anybody. They've got rid of everything. They got rid of both their top 2 quarterbacks from last year or let them leave.
So it's Mason Rudolph?
Rudolph right now. And then you got the Jets. They signed Justin Fields, right?
Justin Fields.
They've got Justin Fields.
1-year contract.
Yeah, and they brought Aaron Rodgers in for an interview. And, we're not interested. He flew all the way out there.
On my dime, he says.
He paid for his own flight. Yeah. It was on the Pat McAfee show. Yeah.
I'm no Aaron Rodgers fan, Tooch, but that was kind of rude.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. I'm happy to meet with you. Oh, yeah.
I almost feel sorry for him, but yeah, it's Aaron Rodgers.
Look at Shorty is sending you $10. She says, I love you. Casey's General Store Pizza on me. Yeah,
nice. Woo. Yeah. Aldo hasn't had Casey's yet, huh?
No, I haven't.
To go by in there, just grab a slice and a pop.
I will.
It's like $4.50 for a slice and a pop.
I love it.
They're the number 3 pizza retailer in the U.S. behind Papa John's and Domino's. Casey's.
Do they have any food dye in their pizzas? Because I heard
I'm also trying to avoid anything with dye in it too.
I know.
I'm on the same page.
My wife loves those Cheetos, and they've got some heavy duty dye on them.
I know. So do my kids. I'm trying to tell her no more Cheetos, baby. Daddy's got some chicharrones for you.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mr. Shorty. I will forward that on to my man, the Tooch. And okay, so let's get back to this draft. So Shedeur Sanders, you believe, is worthy of being taken in the top half of this draft?
I probably think he's a 2nd round pick, in all honesty, or a late round first because of it's a premium position.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, best gas station pizza ever, Aldo.
Yeah,
they're all over Illinois now.
You know what? Years
one
ago,
on Algonquin Road over there by that.
Years ago, I would not touch supermarket sushi. Nowadays, absolutely.
Yeah.
You see the guy preparing it right behind you. They didn't, drive it in from some factory from Taiwan.
Yeah. Since I moved out to Iowa, because the company was formed in Ankeny, Iowa.
Ankeny.
Casey's, yeah. And since I didn't hear about it before I moved out here, but when I moved out here, people are like, "Oh, where do you go for Casey's?" Like you get a slice and a pop for. You used to be able to get 2 slices and a pop for $4.50. But now inflation, you can get 1 slice and a pop for $4.50.
Oh gosh!
Yeah, but still, the pieces are pretty big.
Yeah,
they give you a decent sized piece, and then you get a 20-ounce pop. The plastic pop, 20-ounce.
You're set for at least the next 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah, if you're feeling a little, you want a snack. Yeah, want a little snack and a drink. It's hard to stay. You're getting your gas. You're gassing up. Go inside after you're done gassing up at Casey's. They got rewards too. If you buy more, and then once I get there, I remember went in there and I was like, I finished up. I give him my rewards number, and he's like, "You got $10. Do you want to just pay for your pizzas and stuff?" I was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah."
So what would be a good marketing trick is, like for people who sell these greasy pizzas and high cholesterol stuff, is you get it like a 20% off coupon at the funeral home. have a
That
couple
was really
more.
good.
He said, "You'll have
They
your
have
free
like
funeral."
a shorty. They have a breakfast pizza.
Mhm.
So if you go in the morning, it's like pizza. It's got like scrambled eggs, sausage, and like biscuit gravy and
Ooh,
cheese.
that
Yeah,
sounds good.
that's good, man. You
Yeah.
can get bacon or sausage or combo.
Hey, let me tell you something, man. My wife retired like about a year ago or something like that. All of a sudden, her fucking cooking has gotten a lot better.
Yeah, nice.
I'm like, you
Yeah.
were fucking born for domestic life. The house is cleaner. The
Yep.
food tastes better. You know, God.
I can't
you
wait
know?
to retire. I tell you.
I'm telling you, it's great.
Practice my cooking. I can do some gardening. Yeah, read my
It's
books.
great.
I got a lot of books to read.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So many
I don't
books I
even-
want to read right now. I
Same
know.
here, brother. Same here. Squeegee says, I can't eat gas station food without hearing my older brother's voice saying sweat-filled hot
Sweat-filled
dog.
hot dog.
Oh, Lord. What's the worst thing you've ever eaten at a gas station, Tushy? Remember? I once had a hot dog.
I had a tuna sandwich.
I had a hot dog that
Horrible.
I had explosive diarrhea for a couple of days after that. What about you? So you had a tuna sandwich?
I had
or
a
just-
tuna salad once from
Uh-huh.
a gas station just because there was nothing else and I was hungry and it was awful.
Mm. You know, the other thing was this was about 15 years ago. I got some gas station, or not gas station, supermarket sushi.
Yeah.
And I opened up the little soy sauce bag, and a little cockroach, a dead little cockroach came out. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Shit.
And it didn't have anything to do with the sushi, which was probably tasted terrible, but I threw the whole fucking thing out.
Yeah, I probably would too.
Yeah, I don't want
No bugs. No
no,
bugs.
no. So I didn't buy, supermarket sushi for 5 years or whatever. And then Mariano's here in Chicago, which is a big luxury type supermarket. They got chefs working and stuff. And
Mariano's is the best.
a guy who worked at one of my favorite sushi joints is behind the bar making sushi, and I go, he's a Mexican guy. Hey, Pedro, ¿cómo está? Yeah.
Nice.
And so I'm eating sushi from the supermarket again.
I love Mariano's. Mariano's is class.
Yeah, that is nice.
Classy supermarket. Yep.
That is nice. The vibe there is different. You go to Jewel, it's all fluorescent lighting. You go to Mariano's, they got specialty lighting and stuff. You feel good about healthy food and stuff.
Yeah.
Even though some of it is totally terrible
Have
for you.
Been to Minneapolis before?
Only on a business trip. Stood at a hotel across the street from where the Twins played baseball on a snowy day. That was it. Never got to visit the city or anything like that.
Minneapolis, because my grandparents, my mom were from Minneapolis, and I was born there. And
I didn't know that.
I used to go to Minneapolis a lot in the summer and visit my grandparents. And they had Minneapolis has this grocery store called Byerly's. It's like high end, fancy. It's carpeted. The whole store is like indoor carpet. So you're like shake. It's the thing. The small thin carpet.
Yeah,
It's all gourmet, man. Everywhere. It's nice. It's everything is luxury products. They have like one time I was there. If you go to Christmas, there's like Christmas singers. One time they had a jazz pianist while you're shopping, just like playing. I had a 3-piece jazz band one time. I went in there just in the corner. That's great.
Cool.
It's a great store, and they have phenomenal deli and butcher shop. It's great. Really
I gotta tell you, I'm kind of a very simple person when it comes to stuff. But when my wife drags me to 4-star, 5-star hotels and really cool places like that, I'm like, Jesus, I could get used to this.
Yeah, definitely. That's like when I stayed at the Venetian in Vegas.
Yes.
I want to stay here forever, man.
Yes.
This is a bachelor pad from heaven.
Yeah, when I had my corporate job, we would have an event every year in Vegas. Yeah. And so typically we stood at the Mandalay Bay Hotel, which is a nice hotel and stuff.
Yeah.
But every night we would go to some of the other hotels to have dinner. And the Venetian, my gosh. I mean, I love Chicago restaurants.
Yeah.
But Vegas restaurants, notch above.
Some of the best, yeah. Fantastic.
I mean, you're talking about cooks and chefs from around the world. You're talking about elegant displays around you. You're eating in a special place. It's pretty good.
Even like the dives have fantastic food there.
Yes, you're right.
And the mid-range restaurants too are a cut above. Yeah.
That's right. Free buffet food. They're just trying to get you in there to eat the buffet, but also to gamble.
One of the hotels, I think it was the Venetian or Palazzo, one of them in there. There was just a little restaurant. It was just more like kind of like a glorified like mall restaurant, but it was like you'd see in the nice one inside the mall. Mm-hmm. And it was called Yardbird. It was like Southern cooking. They had like fried chicken and all sorts of cool Southern dishes, man. It was fantastic.
That sounds awesome.
Oh, it was great.
Mr. Shorty says, I thought about doing a show to teach people how to make an official Lou Malnati's pizza. If you ever do that show, Mr. Shorty, let me know because I want to see that.
Yeah.
I order a Lou Malnati's pizza like at least once a month.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I missed that. We have Giordano's out here, but Rosati's.
Oh, so those are two good pizza places. Yeah.
Rosati's just like the thin crust. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Chicago tavern style, cut into squares,
Nice. I love that.
Yeah.
Love that Chicago tavern style. Mr. Mayhem does too.
Yeah, definitely.
Giordano's, when I was dating my first real girlfriend, I mean, we were fucking every day. We would, my mom would go to throw out the garbage and we would fuck.
She's going out to the curb.
That's right. Hurry. Don't worry, I will. And so during that time, she loved Giordano's. She introduced me to Giordano's, and we would go out for pizza at Giordano's, and it was the best. And then I tasted Lou Malnati's, and I said, "Wait a minute, we got a game changer here."
Yep, the butter crust.
Oh, goodness gracious! All right, anything else about the draft you want to get off your chest? This is your last chance.
You have some more sleepers you were gonna run by me?
Let's see.
Good. Does the chat room have any sleepers they could give us?
Yeah, J2K, where are you?
Yeah.
Let me see if I'm just forgetting what some of the stuff that Emery said, but this guy,
I did 243 mock drafts. That's my total, I think.
What website?
That one, Pro Football Network Mock Draft Simulator.
Well, that's a good one.
It's a good one. Yeah, it changes too. It's like seemingly like with the rumors and the news and the algorithm.
Yep. Ian Cummings, we had him on as a guest. He writes for Pro Football Network. He says every Monday they change the algorithms based on news stories that have come out.
Nice.
What do you think about this kid from Boston College, the offensive tackle name? I forgot his first name. Triple whatever.
Ozzy Trapilo.
Ozzy, there you go.
He's like 6'8".
He's a good player,
Yeah, he's all right. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're looking for a guy on the third day, that's definitely one of the left tackles that you could take a shot at.
Yeah.
There's some definite left tackles in the later in the third day, even seventh round.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. I totally agree. And are they going to hit? It's a bit of a chance, but they show enough stuff. Here's the thing, and it happens every draft. Maybe with this draft a little bit more is you got to develop these guys. Most of the guys you're drafting, they're not shoo-ins in any draft. They're not shoo-ins to be great players. Who knows what would have happened with Velus Jones if he would have gone to a team with a better coaching staff, with who would have kept him away from the punt team.
Wonder what Ben Johnson could have done with him.
Absolutely. Oh my God! Can you imagine? I mean, it's in my opinion, it's well-designed bubble plays to Velus Johnson all game long.
Well, I mean, that's what Ben Johnson does: is scheme guys into favorable matchups. That's why I love Ash Genty, because a little screen or swing pass or toss, crack toss to the outside to get him one-on-one with a linebacker and get him to the second level where he can use his tackle breaking skills or speed to outrun. And man, you could get explosive play every game with that.
I agree with that. All right, I think I got a couple more of these prop bets. Let's see what I got here. Number 9 was this one. Omarion Hampton's draft position has risen lately. Now it's over under 20. What do you think that he's going to be drafted?
Where are the Broncos picking?
Okay, I can tell you that in a second.
I think they're 21.
Tankathon helps me out here all the time.
24 maybe for the Broncos.
Broncos are at number 20.
20. So that's why he's at 20. Because
you're good. You're fucking good, man.
If they let Javonte Williams go, I think Javonte Williams signed with the Cowboys. Did he?
Javonte, no.
Javonte Williams. Where did he sign?
I think you're right. I think it is the Cowboys.
I think he signed with the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
And they still have Rico Dowdle, but they're looking for that stud running back. I mean, this is the home of Emmitt Smith and Ezekiel Elliott. I want people to go back and look at rookie and second year Ezekiel Elliott film. And that dude was freaking amazing, man. You want to talk about speed and balance, and great tackle breaking ability, yards after contact. Ezekiel Elliott was fantastic.
You know, that's an excellent comp there that I had not thought of, Tooch.
Yep.
Ezekiel Elliott and Ashton Genty. That's an excellent comp. Here's the other thing that you touched on, but not enough people are touching on. Ashton Genty's character.
He's just a great kid.
He's fucking unbelievable.
He's all business, and he's a kind kid.
Yes. His dad was a very successful person in the military. He lived in Italy, taught Ashton about responsibility, accountability, and so forth. And in Italy, Ashton really started to excel as a football player there. And he was getting into weightlifting. And so he was winning weightlifting competitions. They come back to the United States, and he just picks up where he left off in Italy. This wasn't just him playing great against Italians in their homeland. There he is. There he is. I cannot stop.
Holy shit. Muscles have muscles, Aldo.
I cannot stop focusing on those titties. So
man boom and envy.
That's the other thing that, to me, Tooch, what we are most deprived of is of course the one-on-one interviews that the organization has with the player. But you can get a sense when you listen to a player being interviewed. And when Ashton Genty is interviewed, I say, fuck, I want this guy not only on my team, I want to adopt him.
Yeah, no, he had the chance to go into the transfer portal and play for one of the big schools. He wanted to stay in Boise State.
Yeah,
he liked his coaches.
There you go.
He liked his teammates.
I think Antonio Esperanza is gone now, but I got to tell you, man, that is a huge part of this. Scrolls, who joined us about an hour ago, I think.
He's a franchise player for me.
Yes.
Look, to me, I think back to the Cowboy teams, Jimmy Johnson and Barry Switzer. And they had the triumvirate where they had the quarterback and Troy Aikman. They had the running back and Emmitt Smith. They had Michael Irvin. So you need three players like that. We've got Caleb Williams. We've got DJ Moore or Roma Dunze, whoever's going to pop. I mean, and then if you need the running back to make the engine to make the car run.
I got to tell you, Tooch, out of all the takes that you've had, this, to me, the way you've presented it is the most convincing.
It's a high floor.
Yeah.
What could derail? I don't think could derail him is an injury. God forbid. Hey, PJ, I love PJ.
Let me tell you something. I was editing together some stuff for our draft coverage because there's no way that any one of us is going to talk for hours and hours. So I put together like little highlight packages and stuff.
Yeah.
So I went back to the show where PJ and you and Zim Zimmerman were on. That was a very entertaining show. You guys were great. PJ's take, Zim's take. Although I did find myself editing Zim completely out of the highlights package.
He's gone. I love Zim. I'm going to meet up with Zim later this summer as I pass through on my way to West.
He's living out there, right?
He lives in Iowa now, yeah, and
Nice.
outside Omaha, Nebraska. So he's in Iowa on the Iowa side. With Aaron Mikulski lives around there too.
Wow.
Yep.
So how does a liberal like Zimmerman get allowed to live in Iowa? How's that happen?
His wife is from like that area.
Oh, okay. So that's grandfather.
She moved back home, yeah, and he loves it there. I mean, It's great, man. It's like you got everything you need. There's not a lot of traffic. It's peaceful. There's no crime. It's great out here.
All right, my wife and I were recently fantasizing about places we could retire to.
Yeah,
And
my wife and I too. Yeah, lay it on me. Did you get to come up with some places?
No, but we were thinking about small town
Small
places.
town, yep,
and Iowa has a lot of great small towns. Michigan
It's
has
just
a lot
like you don't want to. I mean, you could avoid the winter and go to some other states. Like
Exactly.
My wife and I were looking at some of the Filipino nurses who came over here. My wife's clique, her friends and stuff, the nurses and stuff. Some of them left. They went to Oklahoma where they can. It's like there's not the property taxes are super low. I looked at one house. My wife, it was like on the peninsula of a lake with a lake view. $212,800 a year property taxes.
Holy shit!
I'm like, shit, that's like less than 25% of the property taxes I pay. And for you, that's like 1% of what you pay probably. It's like 0.5% of what you pay probably in Cook County.
It is, Cook County, and we're in the Wheeling School District. We're part of the Arlington Heights, taxes for the Chicago Bears, and we get killed on that, man.
Yeah, property taxes. That's outrageous, And then like Mississippi has like no low property taxes like that, no income tax.
Mm-hmm.
And then Louisiana is another one, Arkansas, and Nebraska, Iowa. That's like all. But I mean. You're not going to avoid the winter in Iowa or Nebraska, So,
did you see what Shorty just posted on the chat?
You might have more info in this. Is Kay Adams AI generated? Oh, I don't.
Here's what I think he's referring to because I just saw her recently.
Okay.
Oh my God! Either she has had some work done, or major Botox, because she did look like an AI generated character in a recent interview up in Adams.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, either she's had major work done or it is some kind of AI generated thing. I only looked at it briefly, and Shorty, it's basically basically you're making me think more about this than I have already. So I'll try to find that. But Shorty goes on to say, Kay Adams is a girl I dream about. Inside of a dream, inside of a dream. She's very beautiful. She went to Whitney Young High School here in Chicago.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was a very popular girl at the school and went on to follow her dream to work in sports, was fantastic on Good Morning Football, and now has her own show up in Adams, and she does great interviews with people. Mr. Shorty is still jerking off. He says, Kay Adams is OMFG, insanely breathtaking. Dude, put the dick down. And go wash your hands.
Yeah, she is hot, man. She's
very beautiful.
Yep.
She's very beautiful. But beyond that, her take on football. I don't mean to sound sexist on it here. To politically correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. But I find that Kay Adams and other female reporters, that their strength is dealing more in the emotional stories of football, whereas guys like Dan Wiederer and Adam Hogue, they're much more interested in the X's and O's and the football stories. Am I being unfair when I say something like that?
No, women are more emotional than men.
Yeah.
And generally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I would agree completely.
Okay, so there you have it. I'm the liberal, he's the conservative, and we agree. Look at that. Yep. Squeegee says, Aldo, what do you think of Mayor Johnson's idea to use state road funds to contribute to the Bears' new stadium to keep it in Chicago? I think Mayor Johnson is full of shit. D. Starren says, Polish girls are amazing. Kay Adams is Polish?
Is she? Oh, okay.
I don't know if she is. Count me in. My first girlfriend, Susan Klowski, was. She wasn't my first girlfriend. I fantasized about her.
I'm kind of invested emotionally in the Arlington site because it's got its own train stop. For God's sake,
exactly.
Man, you take the train out or in and get off right at the ballpark.
Yeah,
it's got its own train station.
I've dropped off my kids there a number of times at that train station. Dropped Mr. Shorty off there when he was in town for Chicago and he was going somewhere. It's a great train station. I've never seen it in rush hour, so I don't know what it will be like, during
They
the
gotta
Bears
have on Sunday mornings they should have the Bears train and just like serve drinks again on the Metro.
Oh yeah, yes. That's right.
Yeah.
You're allowed to smoke marijuana, huh?
Yeah.
As long as you're 18 years old.
Yeah, when I took the train down every day, and then they stopped, but there used to be a bar car, man. When I would take the train in from Schaumburg.
That's right.
It was a bar. It was awesome, man. It was always the same people too, the same guys. I'm like, oh, getting drunk. The guys are hitting on the girls. It was fantastic, man.
I gotta tell you, when you were here 2 years ago, we had a big party here at my house. A lot of barroom people were here. Shorty was in town. Chris Watts from England was here, and those guys went to the game. Heidi was here. Those guys went to the game, and they were so wasted on that train ride back because they stopped at the Orange and Ice. They were sleeping on the train.
They missed their stop?
No, I don't think they missed their stop.
Okay,
I think
I've done that before where I fell asleep and I woke up in Elgin.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, I'm at the end of the line, man.
And Mr. Shorty says, I pissed on your bushes. You know what, Mr. Shorty, you gave this family one of its great stories. We have like about a dozen great stories. Oh, this happened that we like to talk about. We had company over the other day, Mr. Shorty, and the topic came up about you pissing on the bushes because it's so funny. It's so good. And the capper to the story is always, but he gave us $300 to go eat at Gibson's Steakhouse as an apology.
I've always wanted to go. I bet it was fantastic.
Oh my gosh, was it ever?
Yeah.
Tooch, next time you're in town, I want to take you to either Gibson's or to a steakhouse that you will have an orgasm over.
Nice.
So let me know. All right.
Gibson's was fantastic.
Gibson's is fantastic. That was Mike North's old haunting ground when he was the very popular sports jock at WSCR. He got a lot of freebies over there. He used the company card a lot. He was there almost every night. And Gibson's is known for having a lot of celebrities there. So he would run into, guys that he was criticizing on the radio earlier in the day. This guy can't hit. And he turns around later, a few hours later, Gibson's, and there he is. Good stuff. By the way, it was announced that Mike North is getting a very special award, kind of a lifetime Chicago sports radio award from Barrett's Sports Media. So Mike has invited me to the presentation, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
So that will be very
video
cool.
from that,
Yeah, we'll definitely get some video. And let me just be totally transparent here. I had talked a little bit about my desire to retire in 2025, but I decided that the Bears need me. And I need John Santici. So I'm going another year. A lot of our Bears programming is returning for another year, and this particular show, Tooch and I are going to sit down and talk about ways of improving it and ways to also make it sturdy enough. So if I need it, a week or two off, I can take away, and Tooch, if he can, take over, also rely on some co-hosts and stuff. So maybe, having 3, 4, 5 co-hosts. Tooch and I are going to brainstorm on this, and thank you, J2K, and come up with something that will be entertaining and informative for all of our followers. That's the key. That's kind of like the vision statement for the Bar Room. Entertaining and informative. You guys want to hear news. We want to hear it from you so we could share it on to our audience, and hopefully we'll make you laugh a little bit, or play some good music or whatever. Tooch, you're so fucking talented, man. You really are. You really are.
So are you. The videos, all the everything.
Now, this is I want to make this about you.
Just amazing.
Get that fucking award out of me. I think we need a Johnny Santucci appreciation show. Maybe like a couple of weeks after the draft, we'll do that. Anyone that loves Johnny Santucci, come on to the show and pay tribute to him.
At my funeral, play some best of clips.
That's right.
That's all.
That's
I
right.
ask.
That's the thing. Let's hold Johnny Santucci's eulogy while he's still alive.
While he's still alive.
Let him experience it. You know.
I think J2K's got a little sleeper here, huh?
Oh, oh yes, I saved that. Want to talk about it?
I haven't seen this guy. I got to check this out.
Danny Shimon is talking highly about him. He's got him on his top 10 tight ends.
Wow.
Joshua Simon, South Carolina, 7th round UDFA type, 6'4", 240 pounds, ran the 40 and 4.66. He's got a 38-inch vertical, so he's got power. It's among the best in the tight end. Long strider, good speed, has great hands, size to add weight.
J2K, get that ball.
You're awesome. J2K should be a scout. You should come on here and do some scout. Thank you, PJ. It's not me. It's me and Tooch and everyone else who works at the bar room. I'm really, really lucky to be working with some great people and the folks over at BCP, PJ, where you're at with Mr. Shorty, Foster, and everyone else over there. They do great work too. One of my goals for 2025 is to spend some more time cross promoting some of the other podcasts. You know, why should we be the only one to get the benefit of your attention? People, we should share.
How many draft picks do we have in this draft? What do we have? 6?
Seven.
7?
Yes. 2 in the 7th. Do we have a 6th rounder? No, we traded that away, right?
Yeah. Next year we have 2 second-round picks too. I think, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, this is why I think if we traded one of our second-round picks, we have the ammo to do this year. This is why I'm just saying in this draft, in this situation, with a new coach and the players at the top, and then the strength in the back of the draft for trenches, I think that it's the right thing to do. However, I'm not going to be upset if they don't do it. You know, I think there's plenty of. In fact, I would, if they miss out on Genty, I would draft 2 running backs. You know, they still have that pick. You know, I would draft like a nice one, Ohio State back or Caleb Johnson. Then I'd double down the later rounds and grab someone like Dylan Sampson or Jaden Blue.
Yes,
you know, or,
I'm with you.
100%. Smith. I would draft 2, but the thing is, if you take Johnson, you only need 1.
Yes,
and I think if you miss out on them, I would take 2 guys.
I totally agree with you. Let's say the Genty sweepstakes were unfortunately not a part of it, because there could be a lot of teams that are going to offer a lot more. So in the second round, you're going to have either Henderson or Judkins or maybe Johnson. Even Hampton if he falls that way. And whoever it is, you can, you know, if it's a Judkins who's a power back that you draft in the second round.
Might go in the first round.
It's looking more and more that way.
So
I agree.
It'll be Judkins, Johnson, or Henderson. And Henderson, I wouldn't be surprised if Henderson is before 39.
I like Henderson a lot. I think
too.
he's the better of the 2 backs because he's such a good pass blocker. But Judkins Judkins fits that David Montgomery role, and
he's fast.
DeAndre Swift could be a poor man's Jahmyr Gibbs. But like you said, if you pick up Jaden Blue,
you don't need DeAndre Swift then. Save $8 million. But hey, look.
Well, you know, he's going to play this season. Swift is going to be on the roster. I don't think
I like the player.
Yeah,
you know, Swift. But I'm not drafting running backs and thinking that I'm going to pair him with DeAndre, because DeAndre Swift isn't that important to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think he's a good player. He has value, but I think that there's players that he could replace him.
So let me ask you this, Tooch.
I think he's replaceable.
2 good power backs that should be available on day 3. I think Damian Martinez and Cam Scatterboo, you know, more famous of the 2 backs. But those are 2 big power backs who could complement DeAndre Swift. So I know you just said that you're not too worried about complimenting, but wouldn't it be kind of cool to have a Damian Martis, DeAndre Swift type of combination, or a Scatterboo and DeAndre Swift Scatterboo combination? Because it let's say Swift, who is, I don't think he's ever played 17 game regular season. I think he's had Knicks in his career. So Scatterboo would move into the number one back, or Damian Martinez. It could be a lot worse than that. I'll tell you that.
I like Scatterboo a lot, and he forces a lot of missed tackles. I think he's going to be available on day 3, maybe even the 6th round. I don't know.
I agree.
It's to me, he's like a complimentary back, I'm not as high on him as some of the other folks. If I were taking a big bruiser, I'd rather have Damian Martinez, just because he's got some speed.
I like what that kid can do.
Yeah, he doesn't really. He's not a good receiver though. But if you want to pound,
yes.
The player was at Phil Maffa on
I love that name. Gosh,
he's Clemson, right?
I think it is Clemson.
Phil Maffa.
Motherfucker.
He's Clemson. You can, he's might even be in UDFA at the end of the draft. But this guy's a bruiser, man. He's gonna get those tough yards and everything. The thing is that I like a lot of offensive linemen, like after the draft and in the end on day 3. There's a ton of good offensive linemen. This is why people feel we have to draft depth in the first round of offensive line. I don't think we do. Yes.
Yeah, but I would argue with you that all of those guys need time for development.
Yeah.
I can't think of a name immediately off the top of my head, but an offensive lineman that you're going to sign as an undrafted free agent, he's not going to be ready. He's not going to be ready to play in 2025.
Yeah. Not like a free agent. Yeah.
Right. You want to stash him in your practice squad and give them time.
Do we have any veteran depth?
Yeah, well, Bill Murray is in his second, would be third in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's been around, and I'm not. I've said this 2 or 3 other times in the past. I'm not giving up on this Bill Murray. He made a lasting impression on me on that one play where he engaged with about 4 or 5 players from defense when Caleb is running around. He's just finding a body. Knock him down.
I love it. I love it.
About it, knock him down.
He's looking for action.
Looking for action. And he came to the defense of a player who got a penalty in the end zone. He's got that nastiness that I love.
Still have Ryan Bates.
Ryan Bates, there's a reason Poe's loved him. And so hopefully we'll see that reason this season.
He's probably going to make the team unless we need cap space, and he's already got nagging injuries. They want to cut loose the salary.
Mm-hmm. Look at this. J2K announces Jackson Slater as a possibility. We had him on Draft on Tap. Danny Shimon and I talked to Jackson. He would be fantastic, and he's going up in the draft. I saw him mocked at 5th in one of the prominent drafts.
Do you like Iowa linemen?
Do I like Iowa?
We'll take a look at Connor Colby, a guard on the Iowa offensive line.
Yes.
It played like 3,000 snaps. Just a lot of experience. That's a guy I think could start. If someone were injured.
PJ says Brian Bates has an arthritic shoulder. That is correct, but. The word is that he's been working at Hallis Hall and that he looks like he could be competing for a job. Arthritic shoulder is not a good thing, but maybe he's got another season in him.
Last chance, maybe, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah. So here's the deal with the offensive line. Then we have a lot of guys. I'm looking at this list, and there's a lot of guys. There's not a lot of potential. Guys who could overtake Jackson or Tooney or Dahlman, they're just guys. Yeah. So, are we looking to draft the future of the offensive line? I think you could get that in the second or third rounds. You can draft future offensive lines. If you're looking for immediate depth, like some people think, we need depth. Veteran, you want veteran depth then if you need it immediately. Right. You want veteran depth. You're going to draft. You're going to sign street free agents who are, someone's cut who still has some play left in them, June 1st cuts, or if there's a free agent out there right now, or whatever, anybody in training camp cut, there's going to be guys that you can sign for depth, veteran guys.
Yep. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. You don't have any blue chip players at the offensive line in this draft. If you have an opportunity to get a blue chip player, you really should. And now we all have to come to an agreement. Different. Right, exactly. Next, we all have to come to an agreement as a coaching staff, as a scouting team, as a fan base. We have to come to an agreement that blue chip players win Super Bowls.
Yep,
they do. They fucking do, especially at the quarterback position. But we hopefully have our blue chip player at the quarterback position. So now it's time to give Patrick Mahomes had Tyreek Hill to win his first Super Bowl. Now it's time for Caleb Williams to get his Tyreek Hill, and that could be Ashton Genty.
Yep, a player that's going to break those long runs.
Shorty has a question for you. Any Iowa defensive linemen or tight ends that we should be looking for in the draft? You mentioned Colby as a day 3 gem. Anybody else? Luke Lachey, the tight end.
Sebastian Castro.
Oh, I love that kid.
Safety. Yes. He's a little older player, but man, he's tough and he's smart.
He's very, very smart.
Very smart. Always is in the right position.
I was just going to say that. Always finds himself in the right position.
May not be the fastest guy, but because of his IQ, he plays faster.
Yes. Sebastian Castro is a guy who the Bears could pick up. Maybe, this is a little bit of a stretch, but maybe in the 7th round with one of those
7th round, yeah.
He could drop that far because this is a really, I won't say great safety class, but there are a lot of really good safeties. And so Castro could fall back. If that's the case and the Bears haven't selected a safety earlier in the day, early in the draft, then Castro would be a great 7th round.
Tight end, Luke Lachey. Pretty good player too. Who's Iowa tight end?
Good blocking tight end. Eats the corn and the cob kind of guy.
That's right.
Yeah, I like players like that. Absolutely. Yeah. Offensive linemen. That's what you want. You want big ass guys that eat, everything, including the pots and pans. But with a fork and knife.
You got Caleb Johnson on Iowa, who's a good ball player too.
Oh, I love it.
Would be nice in the Ben Johnson offense.
Yes. Oh, J2K says Castro, by the way, is a great interview. I hear and I think a lot of teams love him. Oh, so maybe you're right, J2K, that he could be an early day 3 pickup. I have heard a lot of that in this draft season, is that guys are interviewing well, and that's always good to see. I think that every once in a while there's a draft class where there's just a lot of impeccable personalities, characters, character trait guys. And Ashton Genty's at the top of the list.
Emery Hunt have any more sleepers you want to mention? That Lake Forest kid is interesting.
Yeah. Let me play something while I look something up here.
You're gonna have to put that Emery Hunt out as its own thing,
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Absolutely. I will do that immediately after this. This is I think I played that one. 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 I'm gonna play a new one. Hold on. I got Danny Shimon has done. By the way, I got to brag about Danny because that motherfucker.
I've watched most all of his.
Shimon draft stuff.
Yeah, I watched almost all of them.
Good. I'm glad to hear. Thank you for doing that. He's been working really hard. I mean, he loves this. Danny is, and I know he won't mind me saying this, but Danny would love to quit his job and become a draft scout. But at his age, it's a very difficult thing to do. So this is the perfect outlet for him. I keep encouraging him. If he has the time, because he's got a family, he's got a girlfriend, he's got a job and stuff. If you've got the time, and Tooch, you've been putting the work in too.
I worked until like 9:30 last night on People because the Pope died. And then we had the Pope magazine, Nat Geo Pope,
And every waking moment, you're looking at draft picks. You know, you're preparing for the show. So I get you, man.
When
I totally get you.
When I have time, I'll watch some games or tape, you know, or whatever, highlight. And then if I like a player past the highlight, I'll find some games, you know, and fast forward through and watch the player, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's how I do it, and I don't do it probably as much as you do because I do a lot of other shit production work. J2K,
I like this player too.
Yes,
this is a guy that Ben Johnson, because he's a former quarterback.
Uh-huh.
So they would run this guy reverses and sweeps. They lined him up in the wildcat. And he threw past. He got pretty good arm as a quarterback for a wide receiver. And then he's big and he's fast.
Love it.
You know, so yeah, I like this player too. I think it's a good day 3.
There's
someone may want him earlier though.
Yeah, there's another Savion guy who's I think a defensive
end. He's off of our guy Braden Swinson, opposite side. Savion Jones. I think one of these guys likes Savion Jones a lot. Who's just like really loves him.
Mm-hmm. Tooch putting in the work. I love it. I love it.
I love draft time. You know, I'm always
fun
texting with Berlissimo, you know, just like, what do you think of this guy? You know, and then he'll be like, check out this guy. You know?
Oh, cool. Berlissimo is really fucking good at breaking down tape. If you're not following Berlissimo's YouTube channel, I'm not sure how much he's populated recently.
Football savant.
He really is. All right, so I just loaded this real quick so that we could talk about it afterwards. Yeah. Danny Shimon's top 10 tight ends. Any of those tight ends grab your interest?
I like a lot of those guys, if not all of them. Joshua Simon, I hadn't heard about. It looks a lot like Jonnu Smith.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a good comp.
Good ball player. Arroyo's good too. He's got the speed, man, but he's had some injury concerns. I'm not sure, like, if he's a good blocker or not, though, and I'm not sure he's a good route runner or not. But he's explosive.
Yeah,
Terrence Ferguson almost made my wish list. Is the tight end from Oregon? I think
I like him a lot. He reminds
phenomenal athlete.
Yeah, he's going to have a long career in the NFL.
I agree.
J2K says Arroyo might be the best tight end from this class. I really like him, but in a good class with some injury pass, I get the drop.
Yep.
And I agree with you and Tooch on that J2K. Yep. But this guy, when you look at the positive plays,
he's the fastest in this draft. Arroyo.
Yes. I mean, it's like, you know, top tight end in the draft type of talent that this guy has. But yeah, the injuries and some other concerns, you know,
Donnie is interesting too, but he's had some injury as well, injury past.
Yeah, I haven't done a lot of work on him. I know Danny has talked fondly of him, but
I like the player too. And this is why I don't think you have to take Tyler Warren.
Agreed.
At the top, because there are a lot of like players that could really shine later on in this draft. But then you put on some Tyler Warren tape, and you're like, God damn it! You know, it's like Jeremy Shockey's jumping over guys. He's not running over people, and you know, then you hear that he was a team captain. He's a leader in the locker room. He's the guy that riles everybody up, the rah-rah, the cheer, the come on, let's go, guys. You know, and then you're saying, yeah, I could get behind this. You know, I don't know about 10, but I guess at 10 we're going to have to take Tyler Warren if you want that.
Yeah. Everything you said about Warren is one of the reasons I love him, because the versatility. And when you hire a Ben Johnson, and Ben Johnson, despite him proving himself to be a tough guy, a leader of men, he's also very, very creative. So you want to get athletes for him that he can utilize that creativity. Yes.
It's a mismatch for a lot of defensive players.
Warren
he's
and
too big to
Genty.
cover with the cornerback.
Would you agree with this, Tooch? Warren and Genty are the two players that most would give Ben Johnson an orgasm if he had them on the team.
I think that those two players you just talked about are players who will help this offense hang 40 points on other teams. So, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, Warren's going to get, it's just that we do have Cole Kmet, and I'm not. This will be the end of Cole Kmet if you draft Warren. I'm just saying he's going to take over, and that's going to be it. Warren is expendable, or Kmet's expendable. Warren's going to take.
I agree.
But, yeah.
Danny says that if you draft Colston Loveland, then you could see them coexisting together, but Tyler Warren, drafting Tyler Warren spells the end for Cole Kmet.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
I
love Cole Kmet too. But
I was just going to ask, what is your take on Cole? Are you angry at him? Do you still like him? I'm a little peeved off at him at how he behaved, for lack of a better way of putting it, last season.
He kind of sold out his teammates.
Yeah,
a little bit. These guys aren't working hard in the locker room. That was the story.
Yes.
I could see them wanting to replace him, and maybe I don't know how he just signed a contract though, didn't he?
No, 2
years ago. Two seasons ago.
I think it was one of the first things Post did was extending.
There's only 2 players remaining on this team from the Ryan Pace era, and that's Cole Kmet and Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
So I could see Ryan Pohl saying, "Fuck it, he ain't my guy." He's a good player, but we got Tyler Warren now.
Yeah. Hey, you up for playing a little game?
Sure.
All right, so let's go through the biggest needs for each of these teams. The Titans are drafting first, and they need a quarterback. They need an edge, a wide receiver, linebacker, and a safety. Who are you picking for them?
I'll take the quarterback at number 1, like they're all lined up with Cam Ward.
Cam Ward
could be special, man. He's got a great arm.
Yeah.
He seems to, maneuvers the pocket well. He's big, he's strong. He could run too as well. He's clearly the best quarterback in this draft, hands down.
The thing about Cam that really intrigues me is that he looks like a guy who's going to be a mixture of Baker Mayfield, that he is going to will his team to win and play well because of his leadership skills.
Yeah.
Plus, he's got that creativity of a Russell Wilson type quarterback, that could really help a team be a top-tier team. Mr. Shorty, Cole Kmet is that biggest reason why I want Tyler Warren.
Kmet has made himself into a better player. He
Yeah.
worked on his hands. He worked on his fitness, his speed, his agility, his athletic ability. He worked on all of that.
Yeah. See, Mr. Shorty's got a hard on for Tyler Warren. That's what it is.
I like Loveland too. And as you see, like Danny showed you 10 guys who'd be like, man, I really like this guy.
Yeah.
But, and people could say that about running back position as well. And I get it.
Yeah.
But Aldo and I are making the same argument for Warren being a cut above, because Warren gives you something a little different than all these other tight ends do. And so does Ashton Genty. He's a little different than all these other running backs. He just is.
I'll tell you this. The thing about Warren is it's almost a 100% guarantee that he's going to be very productive in his rookie season. Those 9 other tight ends and everybody else at the tight end position
take a little time.
It's going to take a little time.
Elijah
Arroyo is not going to catch 60, 70 passes in his
but
rookie.
Warren
at least not with the Bears. But
Warren
could and will, yes.
Yep. Now, if Colson Loveland were to somehow fall to the Chiefs, I think learning behind Travis Kelce, they're picking up right where they left off when Kelce retires.
Good point.
I see a lot of similarities between those two.
Right. So here's the big one. Mr. Santucci. The Browns' biggest needs are quarterback, offensive line, edge, running back, and wide receiver. You have the second overall pick. You've been announced as the GM of the Browns. Who are you picking?
I forgot. Who did they signed Russell Wilson, right?
They have no. Russell Wilson is part of the two-headed team with the New York Giants. They've got,
did he went to the Giants? Wilson?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Who the fuck? The Browns have like a second.
They signed Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco.
Yeah. So to me, their biggest need is quarterback.
Yeah. So
but there are not good quarterbacks.
So are you taking Shador?
I don't know. I don't think so. No. I mean, what I do is I wait and see if Shador is there in the second round if I'm the Browns. If not, I take a stab later on a guy like Jalen Milroe from Alabama, who might have a really high ceiling. His floor might be low, and he might, I take a shot at Jalen Milroe.
Milroe, all he has to do is learn how to throw the ball. Yeah, but that's another story.
I know. He is a great runner, man.
He really is. Oh
really
my
is.
God! You know what? If Jalen Milroe was my starting quarterback, I would go find the playbook for Tim Tebow that the Broncos used in that year that they got past the Bears and got into the playoffs, the Marion Barber game. Yep. But basically transform the offense into a Tim Tebow-ish for Jalen Milroe, and you'll have success.
Yeah.
But he's lunkheaded, stubborn offensive coordinators never do shit like that. All right, the Giants need a quarterback, an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman, a linebacker, a wide receiver, a new announcer, a new ticket salesman, a new toilet man. They need all that stuff. Who are you picking for them at number 3?
That's tough, man. I think if Travis Hunter is gone, I take Abdul Carter. I think if Abdul Carter is gone, I take Travis Hunter.
Okay. I like the way you're thinking there. So. Do you think the guy they drafted number 1 at defensive end, what was it, 2 years ago? Theobald?
Kayvon Thibodeau.
That guy. So do you think that if they draft Carter, do you think that's the end for Thibodeau, or do you think?
I think they run them together.
Okay.
Yep.
They have 2 potentially outstanding defensive ends.
Yeah,
and
same would be in Cleveland too. They put Abdul Carter opposite of Myles Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
They just rush the passer.
Patriots are picking at 4. They need an offensive lineman, defensive lineman, wide receiver, running back, and tight end. I just saw today our guy Will Campbell drafted by the Patriots in a mock draft. That could happen. It could happen.
Yeah, for me, offensive line is a big need for the Patriots, but I could see him saying, well, let's get wide receiver and we'll go offensive lineman with the next 2 or 3 picks.
Okay.
But they would grab someone like Tedero McMillan.
McMillan.
They don't have a lot of good. I could see McMillan being loose out there and just Drake May scrambling around, throw it up for McMillan. that would be.
I
good.
think that's McMillan's style too. Just
throw
it
up for him. He's phenomenal in contested catches.
Yeah.
No, there's no one better in this draft contesting the catch. He's used that basketball body.
Mm-hmm. Travis Hunter, can he play quarterback? Ask Mr. D. Stara. He can do it all, but
the dude's a phenomenal athlete. He's like the best athlete we've seen in a long time because he's smooth as a receiver, and man, he's smooth as a quarterback.
Yep, yeah, and he's got this uncanny knack for just having the stamina to be able to play that many plays in a football game, and he never looks tired, despite the fact he's playing so many plays. He's an amazing player.
Yeah, I think teams are going to want him to focus on one position, but I don't know. I mean, there's teams that maybe he's a full-time wide receiver. They say if someone's injured on cornerback, we're going to move you over to cornerback. And some people say he's going to play cornerback full-time, but we have some package of plays for him to play at wide receiver.
Yep. So let me ask you this. Can you see Shador Sanders falling to late in the second round, maybe to the Steelers at 21?
Yes.
Yeah, it's looking that way, right?
Yeah, there were reports today. It could be smoke, though. Like Greg Gabriel says, this is the lying season. But People are saying he's so entitled, and he's not that good. It's like he just like acts like he's entitled.
Greg said that he's not that
No,
good?
no, I was reading some news
I'm sorry.
reports, prior draft talk on X or on news on the web, that I don't like him. He's like so entitled, snobby, just because his dad played in the league.
See, I don't see
it. Could be all bullshit.
I see a guy, that he may think his shit smells better than anybody else's, but that's true with any player, right? He does have a cockiness / confidence.
Yeah.
And, I do think that there could be some drama served up because if Deion Sanders will say something and the media will blow it up and blah, blah, blah. But the one thing about him going to the Steelers is that Mike Tomlin knows Deion Sanders. And I think that they could sit down and Tomlin could say, hey, Deion, do you mind? Let me coach the team. Let me coach your son at the quarterback and so forth. Here's an interesting question for you. Tooch, I really would love your opinion on this. One of the NFL insiders said that the reason that the Giants are hesitating about drafting Shedeur Sanders is that they know that if Shedeur does not do, the Giants do not do a good job with their one-loss record, they will fire Dable and hire Deion Sanders.
That's what I was talking about today with Anthony.
So what do you think? You think that could happen?
I told Anthony I think we might see Deion as an NFL head coach coaching his son in the league sooner rather than later. I mean, look, I could see someone like trading back into the first to grab Jackson Dart, or the Steelers grabbing him at 21. I think Jackson Dart. I think is the second best quarterback in this draft.
Really? So where do you have Sanders? 3 or 4?
I would put Sanders at 3. I think just the ceiling
and
the
second
smarts,
round, as you said earlier.
The floor is high. He's going to manage a game. I don't know. I mean, this is a very tough quarterback class, but to me, Jackson Dart may be this year's Bo Nix. I like copping him to Bo Nix. He's he's a good leader. He's got a lot of the same skill sets. He can scramble around. He's got a nice big arm. Did pretty good at Ole Miss under the Lane Kiffin's offense. So yeah, I mean, I would rank Ward, and then there's a gap, definitely, and then Jackson Dart, and then there's another gap, and then there's Shedeur, then there's other guys that you don't know what to make of them, like Milroe, Schuff. There's even late round guys that could do something. I like the size of Curtis Rourke. His brother played in the NFL. Nathan Rourke was on the Jaguars. Curtis, look, guys like Cam Ward when he was at Washington State, man, I was like, is he going to play today? He's injured again, But like, we're not going to win without Cam unless Cam's playing and stuff. It's like as a handicapper, you're always wondering if Ward was going to play because he was so good. And this year he goes to Miami. And he showed people that he's the number 1 quarterback in this draft. So, but Jackson Dart, I think, is definitely the second quarterback in this draft. I think some team's gonna look at him like the Denver Broncos did with Bo Nix and say, why can't we make this kid into a success story too?
Interesting. Well, I'm going to be posting my interview with Emory Hunt, who believes that Shedeur Sanders is the number 1 ranked quarterback in his eyes. And again, one of the things I love about Emory is he brings a unique, different perspective. Yeah. I mean, he has Trevor Etienne as the number 4 running back in this draft.
Yeah, a lot of people love Etienne. His brothers, Travis, is on the Jaguars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, proven bloodlines. There's no doubt.
Georgia running backs.
But I don't recall seeing Etienne that high in anybody else's draft board. But I'm not saying it's
really like him.
Yeah. But number 4 overall, above, who are we talking about?
I mean,
he had him above Judkins.
Yeah, and it probably has him above Caleb Johnson too, as well.
Yeah, probably.
And I probably like Caleb Johnson a little more than people, not just because I'm from Iowa, but because he's a very decisive runner. He's patient too. He hits the hole like you want DeAndre Swift to.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to be sitting back there and going, "Damn it, why didn't he hit the hole?" You know.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Mr. Shorty is still talking about the T formation. You give any credence at all to Mr. Shorty wanting to bring the T formation back to the Bears?
I thought about it with Scatabo in like the Matsui role. I think that would be really fun for the Bears.
Yeah.
You know, if you had kind of a lightning and then a thunder, you know, like Matt Payton and Suey, you know.
So how about this? All right. You get Cole Kmet, your number one running back, whether it's DeAndre Swift or Ashton Genty over Swift. So you got in the backfield as part of your T formation, you got Cole Kmet, you got Genty, and then you've got a good blocking by a guy like Durham Smith or maybe Jackson Halls, the rookie coming into the draft. And so that's your T formation with Caleb taking the ball under center. There's a lot of creative things that can be done, including rushing the ball down the throats. Mr. Shorty says Tyler Warren because, of course, Mr. Shorty has a love affair with Tyler Warren.
He doesn't like Cole Kmet.
I does.
Shorty.
No, he's at Mr. Shorty.
I could definitely see Cole Kmet on his way out after calling out his teammates for not working hard.
That's right.
But, you know, I mean, I'm like, you know, they were checked out on Eberflus.
They were.
You know, they were
that's
like,
a big part of it.
Why should I work my ass off? This coach is a fucking dumbass.
Yep.
Why didn't you call timeout in Washington?
Yeah, and so that's what I was thinking too when TJ Edwards was talking to the media, and you know they're asking him, you know, last season wasn't the greatest season. I thought at one point, you know, TJ, who was being very authentic, I thought he was going to say, "Well, we had that fucking head coach of ours, and then they fired him."
Right.
I really thought. I mean, he was going to be 100% honest. You know, that had to be part of why his 2024 season was not as good as the 2023 season.
I wanted Eberflus gone after the first season.
Yeah.
You know, I saw enough. I'm like, this guy sucks. He can't coach. You know.
Well, but that's the thing.
We were kind of like, yeah, it's a tank year, right?
Tooch, would he have impressed you in a job interview? No, exactly.
No.
If he would have come
Greg
to my
Gabriel
house,
said she wasn't Pole's choice.
Yeah, I know. He
It
keeps
was
saying that.
it was what was the guy? It was what's the
not
guy's name?
Ernie Arcarosi. It was what's his name from
What
the
is that
Colts?
guy's name?
Bill Polian.
Polian. It was Polian's pick for coach.
I believe that.
Well, they both were at the Colts.
Yeah.
It was like his drinking buddy, Eberflus. You got to hire him.
Well, the what has been widely reported is that Polian had 3 finalists and then walked away from it, and McCaskey said, "You make the choice." And that Poles had somewhat of a loose relationship with Eberflus. They just kept on contact and so forth, and so that made him kind of the likely guy. I don't care if I get that job.
I wonder who the other 2 were.
Yeah. Does anybody know in the chat?
It would have been something to know that, because I mean, the other 2 guys had to have been better choices.
Yep.
You know,
I totally agree.
At least for you and me, but
I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to have an awful year on defense, and it will be because of a guy. Well, you know what? It's weird because I thought Matt Nagy was going to be a complete bomb when he returned back to Kansas City, but here they are. They haven't been the same Kansas City Chiefs as before, but they are still making it to the Super Bowl. So I don't know. I don't fucking know.
They still made it to the Super Bowl, but I mean, the chinks in the armor were more evident this year for the Chiefs, you know.
J2K says, "I still think Flus was the sacrificial lamb to a rebuild and the best head coach the coaching firm could find, given no one wanted to coach a rebuild." It's a very, very good point.
Who wants to come in and preside over a rebuild?
Yep, exactly. So he was the sacrificial. You're right, J2K. You're absolutely right. But there could have been some other sacrificial lambs.
I'll take that rebuild, guys.
That's right. Light up another cigar. All right, I think it is time to pull the plug. We're 3 hours into the show. I see Tooch is yawning. He's got to go to work tomorrow, and I have to go to work tomorrow. Draft on Tap tomorrow night with Danny Shimon. So we've got a nice 2-hour show.
Last episode before the draft.
Last episode before the draft on Thursday and Friday. We'll be covering the draft, Danny and myself. And then on Saturday is our extravaganza. 8 straight hours of Bears football coverage, plus the NFL draft. Tooch will join me as on the first shift, and then Tooch will continue on for several hours. Who knows? Maybe he's going to pull a Dick Van Dyke. Remember that old Dick Van Dyke episode where he did 24 hours of straight broadcasting?
Yeah.
The old TV show? Maybe you're going to do that for us. Either way,
Friday night too. There'll be some programming, right?
They'll be programming Thursday night, Friday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday throughout the day.
Willis Towers are doing a show.
Willis are not, but they're going to join us on Saturday. They're going to jump in and out, so you'll probably run into them. And as well. For Saturday, right now, we have confirmed the Willis twins, at least one of them. Greg Gabriel is going to be on.
Nice.
Aaron Current is going to be on. You're going to be on. I think RK from the Butterfly Tailgate Show is going to be on.
Nice.
Danny Shimon's going to be on. Swifty from
Swifty.
Sports Network is going to be on. Mr. Shorty is going to be on. Hoping that Carl will join us, because Carl will give us great displeasure. We can argue at him, we can make jokes about him and stuff. And so that's I got 9 already. So
it's a little Bears Country podcast.
Exactly.
There, Saturday. Yeah.
So J2K, you're welcome to join us on Saturday. Dr. Truth, anybody that's out there. PJ, you want to join us Saturday? Come on in, share your opinion on the first 2 rounds, first 3 rounds, and then talk about what happens on day 3. It's going to be a talk show. It's going to be a drinking beer kind of environment on day 3. It's going to be fun. And Tooch is going to be the most prominent face and host. I will send you the link,
What
J2K.
time are we starting on Saturday?
Saturday it'll be Greg and me at 9 a.m. We'll go an hour, and then the draft starts at 11. So I'm hoping to start at 11 a.m. Restart at 11 a.m.
I like to pop in maybe for talk a little best available players for the Bears before.
I love it. Yes. Yeah. So let's do that. We could start 10 minutes, 15 minutes early on that Saturday, you and I, and I'd love to get your
list. No, I mean I'll come in
okay.
10:30 or something.
All right, you got it, brother.
11 maybe,
Whatever works. I've actually developed 5-minute commercial breaks, so that if you're on hour number 3 or whatever, or you have no guest to talk to, I'm gonna play this 5-minute video while I go take a shit or something. Yep. So we're gonna keep
maybe a long time between picks for the Bears.
Exactly.
148 to 200 something.
Right. After that 72 pick in the third round. 148.
And then 148 to 233.
Yes, exactly. So that'll give us an opportunity to talk shit, talk Bears, talk football. Who knows? Maybe even talk some movies and what have you. Anything to keep us happy, because this should be, as Brian Gilmore said hours ago.
We don't watch The Last of Us on Max. Do you, or HBO Max?
I have not. You know what? I'm going to do a binge. As soon as this draft is over, I'm going to go back to season 1 and do the binge, get caught up, because the everybody loves that show.
Yeah, I mean, episode 2 was a bit of a downer, shocking type.
Oh, really?
I don't want to say anymore, but I'm sure the chat room has watched it, and they're probably, affected by it.
I can't wait to get into that show. I'll tell you another show. I think I mentioned a couple of shows ago that I was watching. What was the name of that show? It's an ER type show with Willa Fitzgerald. The Pit. Okay, so now
Noah Wiley.
No, that's a different one than I watched. But I started watching The Pit with Noah Wiley. It's very good. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, that's a downer of a show. Yeah. You're guaranteed to cry at least one episode. Yeah,
It's
it
real.
is fucking real.
Yep.
But then there was another one on Hulu with Willa Fitzgerald.
Okay. I don't know this one. I like Willa Fitzgerald, though.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And Jack Reacher and a
Yep.
couple of other things. Stranger
Yeah.
Darling.
Yep.
She plays the someone who is. I gotta find the title of this. She's playing somebody who works in an ER that she has the ambition to take over to be the chief of staff at the ER, but there's a lot of turmoil going on because she was dating one of the other doctors. So it's a really good show, and if you're a fan of Willa Fitzgerald, which you should be because she's a phenomenal actress, check it out. I'll find the title. Let me see. Why don't you sing and dance while I look for this title? Give him a little. Show him a titty.
I've been brushing up my draft. Of course, I've been working a lot with training and stuff at my job, so I haven't watched as much movies. But I did watch first couple episodes of Last of Us.
Oh, cool.
So,
well, you know,
season 2.
the aura about The Last of Us. Who is the name of this Hispanic actor there? I mean, this guy has become so popular with young girls. I'm like, why can't that be me? All right, so it's called Pulse. Life Can Change in a Heartbeat.
Pulse,
It's with Willa Fitzgerald on Hulu. I highly recommend it. Yeah, I think you and your it's one of those great watches with you and your wife or your significant other.
Yep.
Dr. True says, Aldo as a director, reset and show a little, show some titty. For God's sake. Dr. Truth and a number of other people are aching for me to show one of the dancing girls that we like. Should I do that during the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
All right. Meanwhile, you show them a titty or two. Okay, so let me see. I'm going to go here and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do this. And oh my gosh. Oh Lordy. Well, you know, this is, I'm going to keep it somewhat tame. You know why?
Okay.
Because, because my daughter is watching tonight.
She's in the chat room.
Hi, sweetie. All right, so here we go. Oops. Gotta get the fucking commercial out of the way. You should be able to hear it too.
I hope so. Yeah, wait, I heard a little bit. Yeah, I heard it there.
All right.
Dripping from head to toe.
Yeah.
You got me running, going out of my mind. You got me thinking that I'm wasting my time. Don't bring me down. No.
All right.
You know what, Tooch?
Yep,
my plans for the rest of the night have just changed. Instead of posting the Emery Hunt video, I'm going to watch girls dancing for the next 2 hours.
Not a bad idea.
All right, everybody. That is our show for tonight.
All right.
We're going to get some rest. We're going to get some work done, and we'll be back here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The Tooch is going to be one of the big stars of our coverage, so make sure you are following him. He's going to let everybody know when he's on that X machine, where you can follow him at John Santucci VIP. You can follow me at Barroom Network, and please subscribe to the channel, share it, let these people know that Tooch and I are just carrying the Barroom tradition of having a lot of laughs and talking some football.
Oh yeah.
All right. So, Tooch, anything I want to say? Just goodbye to people, or maybe collect some money from somebody that owes you money for a bad bet.
Nope. Good. I want to thank the Barflies for all their comments tonight. Great commentary in there too.
All right. J2K says, X looking forward to talking with you, Aldo and Tooch. He will do that on Saturday. He's going to join us at Mass. If you want in on that fun on Saturday, let me know. I'll show you the link.
Yeah.
Excellent show, Aldo and Tooch. He says, have a great night, everybody. We'll see you all next time. Bye.